Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Just gotta, make sure that USADA whereabout is up to date.
Is that what you just did? I can't believe they woke you up at 5:30 in the fucking morning.
Oh, yeah.
That's ridiculous.
They don't care.
But that's not even not caring. That's like negligent. It's like if you have an athlete and the athlete has to rest and recover, and you're waking them up at 5:30 in the morning, you break their sleep cycle. You're affecting their training. You could cause an injury. A lot of shit could be wrong.
But I think for them, it's I don't know because I'm not them, but I think some fighters feel like we're gonna catch them.
Yeah,
it's 5:30 in the morning. We're gonna catch them before they do anything, which is
Ali was saying that it's EPO, that it's like short lasting. So if people take it and they take it at night, it'll be out of their system by the time USADA shows up. If they show up at 9 a.m., then
I wouldn't fucking know. Maybe he would.
Yeah.
Like, Ali, how do you know that information?
How does he know? Well, if you're a manager, you're dealing with at least one cheater.
I'm
if you got 50 clients, there's a guy in there that's doing something funky.
Yeah.
What percentage of fighters do you think are doing something?
Do I think nowadays? I mean, it's tough. It's tough. Because I never focused on that. I never worried about it. But I did know that, some fighters you could see back in the day, like, hey, this is not normal.
Right.
Last year I saw you didn't look like that.
Right.
And yeah. So I think back in the day, pre-USADA, you could say I would say a good maybe 25 to 30%.
I think before USADA it was higher than that. I think there was a time where it was I don't know what the percentage was, but I think it was a lot of fighters. And then it got real squirrely with the testosterone replacement shit.
Yeah, I do remember that time.
That was the dumbest time ever. The fact that they didn't think that through and they just let people game the system like that.
It's funny to me because I get it all the time now.
Of course.
Like people accuse me all the time, and I haven't really told the story, but so one day I saw like people kept tagging me in this video, and there was some fucking guy, some dumbass that's on YouTube that swears he can spot people that do PEDs.
Oh, it's probably more plates, more dates.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Derek, he's been on the podcast before.
Yeah. So he's like, I know that guy's doing it because I can see the marks on him and stuff like that. And so he starts they start pointing out, because I have like 5 scars on my stomach, like burn, like discoloration on my stomach, and they start pointing at that, and he starts talking about it and making up this whole theory, and it kind of hurt my feelings a little bit because it.
It should make you happy.
Okay, so here's the story. I was a little self-conscious about it because, so this is what happened. I was in college. This was my, I want to say sophomore, junior year, going into my junior season. And actually, I think it was after my junior season. So I started getting these, I got like a mole on like my stomach. And I got one like on my hand, and I'm one of those. I'm kind of like a clean freak. Like I shower, after practice right away. So I start scratching it, and then it starts bleeding. So I'm like, fuck, that's not a regular. I thought it was like a pimple. That's not a regular like a zit or something like that. So and then I, over time it was like 5 little ones, like tiny. You could barely see them. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna ask the doc. We have a team doctor. I'm going to ask him about it. So I went in for a physical, and then before the season, I asked him, hey, I have this right here. I don't know what they are. So he looks at him, and he goes, oh, these are non-cancerous moles. They're just little bitty moles. It's very, very common. I'm like, shit, not for me. I don't know. That's common for me. He's like, yeah, they're very common. I'm like, yeah, well, how can I get rid of them? I try to scratch them, and they bleed. And he's like, yeah, you don't want to do that. What we could do is I can burn them off. And I'm like, okay, fuck it, let's do it. Cause hey, spring break was gonna come up. Like I started, I'm lifting now. I got a body now. You know,
Right.
I'm a junior and I've looked jacked. So I'm like, spring break is coming. I want to look jacked. I want to look good. You know, so I don't get walking around with those. Fuck no. So he's like, all right, I can burn them off. So he burns them off with, I think, nitrogen or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he burns them, and then he goes, hey, those are going to fall off in a couple of days. You know, just give him time. So I'm like, okay. But I was still training heavily during the summer because I was just like an addict of wrestling. I wanted to catch up to everybody, and I wanted to exceed everybody. So this was my time. The summer, that was my time for me to catch up. So my dumbass, I go back the next day. I go to school and back to the school, and I go in and I go drill. I go wrestle. I couldn't stop. I was just training all summer. So I wrestled, and I didn't think anything of it. I was like, okay, they just burned those, but nothing has happened yet. And so I wrestled. And then later that evening, I'm sitting in I get down, I get in the shower, and I'm showering, and all of a sudden, it's just burning down there. And I look down, and I had like scraped them off. Like, so as soon as he burned them, he said, don't do anything. They're going to fall off on their own. But my dumbass wrestled, and it rubbed up against it, and now they all fell off. So then they scarred it, because now I was like out for like 7 days, like putting Neosporin on it just so they can heal. And then they scarred over. So I have those from just that moment. So then this fucking guy is like, oh, he's doing PEDs. Look, he's got the marks on his stomach. And it hurt my feelings. I'm like, I'm like one of those guys who I'm like, I don't even think about PEDs because my work, even if I don't care, I probably have dealt with someone that was cheating or competed against someone that was cheating. But my work will far exceed all of that. And so when I see idiots online or saying, oh yeah, I know for a fact he's doing PD, I'm like, have you ever been to fucking Africa? Have you been to Africa? There's a lot of Francis Ngannou's walking around. There's a lot of guys like me just walking around. And because of the work and because of the way that I fight, they're like, oh no, he's definitely got to be doing something, because they can't explain why you are the way you are, why your performance exceeds what their mind is mentally capable of.
There's a photo of you where on top of the cage after one of the victories.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like this, like, fuck!
Yeah.
It looks preposterous. Like, if I didn't know any better, I'd be like, that motherfucker's on some shit.
It's
genetics are real,
yeah.
man.
Oh, it
genetics are
definitely
real. This is not, everybody did not get the same deck of cards.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Look at that one. Come on, son. If I saw that shit, I'd be like, if someone said, do you think this guy's on the juice? I'm like, highly likely.
Yeah, adrenaline.
Everything.
You know, and I think this is right after the Masvidal fight.
Oh, man.
And I just, yeah.
Was that your sweetest victory? The second Masvidal fight?
It's tough to call.
That one was so
I think
shocking.
the first Covington fight
Yeah?
was probably the sweetest.
Just to stop him?
Yeah, and I was you deal with so much. We deal with so much things going into fights, before fights, and I don't think people care. People don't care about it, but I don't think people understand. So to make it to that fight, just to get in there, to step in there on fight day, nowadays I'm so grateful, because you deal with so much, from family, from relationships, to children, to injuries, to finances, all of that, and coaching, to where by the time you actually step in there, it's like peaceful. This is like, I'm grateful to be in here, that I actually made it in here. So I think that Covington fight was probably, the first one was probably the sweetest. There was just too much.
There was so much shit talking. He puts people in a crazy state of mind.
Yeah.
Because he goes dark, man. He goes after your family. He goes after your friends. He goes after past relationships. He just tries to find anything that he can light on fire.
Yeah, there's an art to that. I mean, some guys it works for, but it's, for me, what I would love to do is ask And hopefully in the future I can do that and just sit down with these guys and ask them like, how did you feel after that? Like are you human? You got to be human too. You got to feel something after you go that far. And let's say you don't win, you do lose. How do you feel sitting at home?
Can't be good.
No, you can't. Like, I know how bad you feel losing. I've lost now twice, so I know how bad that feels at home. How do you feel when you got your ass kicked and you did all of this shit talking? All of this and it didn't work.
All negative too.
Yeah.
Really negative.
Oh yeah. There's a dark energy and a dark aura that just surrounds that when you do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when you do lose, people get so happy.
Oh yeah.
When you talk so much shit and you're so mean and nasty, and then you lose, people get so happy.
Connor, the first Connor, Khabib, yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh man, that was like
Perfect
Khabib.
example.
I think Khabib went from like maybe 2 to 3 million followers to like 12 overnight.
When he was on top of him, pounding on him, go, let's talk now.
Yeah.
Let's talk now. Let's talk. And he's just punching him in the face.
Khabib's got some savage moments in the cage.
Oh, man.
I think one of my favorite, I don't know if it might have been the Edson Barboza fight or some other fight where he was on top of the guy. He was holding him with one hand, holding his face, and he was beating his face with the other hand. I was like, this is the most savage shit I've ever seen.
Michael Johnson, he did that too.
Yeah,
Michael Johnson,
that was bittersweet for me. That one was hard to watch because Mike was like my training partner at that time. We were really like training together, and Mike was on the upswing because Mike had just killed Poirier, and Mike was really having a great run.
I got very offended when they were talking about Poirier, and I think it was Stephen A. Smith was talking about one like accidental loss. I forget how he put it to Michael Johnson. One inexplicable loss to Michael Johnson. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, Michael Johnson's a savage.
Oh, Michael, I think is one of the most dangerous lightweights.
He's dangerous as fuck, man. When he's on, when he knocked out Poirier, he dinged Khabib too. He had Khabib in a little rocky for a second there, and maybe the only guy to ever do it.
The weird thing about Michael Johnson is he doesn't look the part. He looks long limbs. They look skinny, but he's got speed and power. Until Leon, Michael's the only guy that's ever dropped me, sat me down, and I felt worse after that than I do now after the Leon situation.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he beat my ass. Mike beat my ass that sparring set. It was early on. I think I was like maybe in the second year of training MMA, and Michael was getting ready for a fight. He's in the UFC at this point, and he was like maybe 3 weeks out, and Mike's on. Because Mike, and that's another thing I love about Mike is Mike likes to train. It might not be all the things that he should be training, but Mike loves to train and he loves to spar. And so I think it was in between my first and second fight. I just came off of my first win, so I had a couple of weeks off. So I'm coming in and I'm sparring Michael Johnson, and he's 3 weeks out from his fight. Mike's on at this point, and we're sparring, and you know, I'm trying to fake it. I'm the bigger guy, so I'm trying to like. You know, I didn't find a groove. I didn't have a groove at this point. I was just a guy who could wrestle and throw punches. And Mike is moving his feet. He's touching me. He starts slow. Then he starts picking up the pace. And then I was like, I'm gasping for air. And we're fucking 2 minutes in. And he's still just peppering me. And then now he's starting to land shots. And they're getting harder and harder and harder. Now we're 3 minutes in. And I'm waiting for the bell to go off. But no, we're still stuck in here. And at that point, I would spar with headgear. So I'm like, no, fuck, this headgear's getting in my way. That's what's causing it. But no, Mike was just beating my ass. So I take the headgear off, and we're still going, and he just puts a combination on me. Bing, 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 sits me down. Bing, and I fall like on my hand, and I roll over. And this is how fucked up it is. Rashad had the whole thing recorded and had it on his phone. Forever. And so I fell, and we're home that night, and Rashad's replaying it, and he's showing me how I fell. And I'm like, no, I slipped and I fell. And he's like, no, you was down because you fell on your hand and you kind of rolled over like So it wasn't like I was out, but it was like he sat me down good. And he beat my ass. To this day, well, until Leon Edwards, that was the only time I've ever been sat down.
And that bothered you more?
Yeah, it bothered me more because I didn't have an answer for it. These are the moments that's really haunted me, that really messed with me, was when there was nothing I can do about it. There's that. The first one was Rashad. Rashad beat me up one time to where I had to rethink what I was doing. So I think I was about a year in my career, and this was around similar times. And Rashad was like really traveling a lot. Rashad was a man. Rashad was traveling, doing shows, commentating, maybe do a movie here and there. And I was living with Rashad. So at this time, he was a stretch. He was gone for like 3 weeks. And I'm training every day, twice a day. I'm like, this dude's not fucking, he hasn't really been training, hasn't been going to the gym. I know if it comes to wrestling, I cannot wrestle him. But I'm like, I'm striking now. I'm starting to hit people. I'm like, no, he comes in, I'm going to put it on him, So I built this whole experience in my head. I'm like, I'm going to put it on Rashad. Let him know little bro is learning some shit. And he hadn't trained 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And so he comes in town, he comes back, and we go to the gym. And usually, and he would hate that I'm saying this, but I had the hardest time waking Rashad up in the morning. He would not leave his room. His room was on the other side of the house. He would not leave his room. We had practice at 10:30. We have a 30-minute drive. He would not come out of his room until after 10 a.m. And so I would always go bang on his door. Hey, you up? Try to get him out before 10. And he just would not do it. And so I would drive us to the gym. I'm little bro. I take care of the house when he's not there. And, so I drive us to the gym. And the whole time in my head, I had the experience. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to fuck him up today. He's been gone for 3 weeks. I'm about to show him all the new ninja shit that I've learned. I'm going to put it on him. And I know he hasn't been training. So we get to the gym, and it just happens to be sparring day. So I'm smiling. I'm like, yeah, this is going to be the day. I'm going to show him, little bro, learn some shit. And I'm on the other side of the room, and first couple of rounds, I kind of go with guys that would go at my pace, And so I think it was like maybe the third round. And Rashad, he comes in, he takes his sweet ass time. This is when he was at 205. He takes his time, and he gets ready and all of this. And then he's going, and I'm the whole time I'm eyeballing him on the other side of the gym. I'm eyeballing him. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go with him today. So now it's the third round. I'm like, yeah, Rashad, let's go, let's go. He's like, all right. And this was MMA gloves, and this was back there in the Black Zillions. We didn't really start using the 7-ounce poofy gloves. We would use the UFC MMA gloves. And so Rashad had his gloves on, and we start moving, and we're going, and I'm just like, all right, let me try some shit. I know now. So I throw like a 1-2 or something like that, and I just kind of hit his hands, and he's moving with me, and I'm like, let me ramp it up on him. I know he's not in shape. Let me ramp up on him. So I'm picking up the pace, and no, I couldn't hit him. And then he starts hitting me, but he was hitting me a little bit, like with a little bit more conviction than I anticipated, than I thought. I was like, why is he? And he's hitting me, and I couldn't stop it, and now he starts fucking me up, and he's beating on me. And I'm like, no, okay, let me go to my wrestling. I know I could always get him there. And I shoot for takedowns. He stuffed them all, like 2 or 3 of them. He stuffs them. Then he hits me again, starts hitting me again. He has me against the wall, and he's just beating on my body. Then he shoots for a takedown. He takes me down. And I'm just like, fuck. There was nothing I could do. I didn't have the knowledge to really defend myself. And he mounts me, and that was one of the worst things at that point. 205 Rashad on top of you is bad, because you could see it in his fights when he was at 205. Like when he mounts guys, he'll crucify guys. That's like his thing. And he crucified me. He beat my ass so bad. Usually I drive us to practice and I drive us home. He knew he beat my ass that bad. He drove. He's like, yeah, let me drive home. So he drove. I was sitting in the passenger seat, and I'm just looking at the window. I couldn't make eye contact with him. I'm looking out the window the whole time, like, holy shit. And then we get home, and usually when we're home, like I'll like make lunch, or we'll like get lunch, this day we didn't get lunch, or I usually sit on the couch and like maybe watch old fights or watch something like that in the living room. But no, I was in my room the whole time. I was like, no, I'm not coming out. And he would just randomly come in, open the door. Hey, you all right? You good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. He's like, all right, you want something to eat? I'm like, no, I'm okay. I felt like he purposely knew he beat the shit out of me, and then how he just had to check on me all through the day to make sure that I was okay. But it messed with me because I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't defend myself. I didn't have the knowledge to.
Yeah.
And that was what was so hard about my first professional loss as well, is when I got submitted, I didn't have the knowledge because I wasn't doing jiu-jitsu like that. I didn't know and how to defend myself at that point. So those was hard. This one, not so much, because I knew exactly, where I went wrong. And it wasn't like Rashad beat my ass. There was nothing I could do. This one, that wasn't the case. So, this is a little easier to deal with.
You were saying that it's almost a little bit of a relief.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird to really explain, but you get to a certain point to where people start putting expectations on you. They start like, oh yeah, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Yeah, you're this, you're that, to where I didn't get into it for all of that. I was never attached to the title. Now, as weird as that sound, I was never attached to it. It wasn't like, oh, I'm champion, I got to hold on to this, I got to hold on to this. No, and I've said it before, and I continue to say it. In my head, each and every time I was fighting for that title or defending that belt, I was fighting for the title. I was a contender in my head. I felt like that. I have to go contend for this belt each and every time. So, because I feel like when you're defending, you're tight. Now you're all defense. You're not thinking offense. You just want anything to hold on to this, I was never really like that. So when everyone felt like kind of started putting expectations, like, yo, you're about to break this record. I didn't even know what Anderson Silva's record was until like before the last fight, where everyone started saying, oh yeah, you're about to break the Anderson Silva's record, or you're about to tie this, and yo, you already broke George St. Pierre's record. I don't care. I don't give a shit. The last time I cared about the number was when I was 5-1, and I was about to get into the UFC. I was like, yeah, I'm 5-1. Damn, Rashad went on like a 15-fight win streak one time. Damn, I wish I could do something that great. But Rashad even told me at that point, he's like, just take it fight at a time. As long as you worry about that next fight and that next fight and the next fight, they'll add up. And so, yeah, it was almost like a relief of expectations of everyone's pressure of, oh yeah, you're the GOAT this, you're the GOAT that. That's relative. That's a relative, like, it's hard to argue that situation because George St. Pierre was the greatest in his era. With what he had to deal with, the opposition he had to deal with, he was the greatest, hands down. And, when George St. Pierre kind of moved aside, Woodley was that guy. And then Robbie had a stint there where Robbie was that guy. So, and Pat Miletich had a stint when he was that guy. So did Matt Hughes. And so to say, oh yeah, that guy's the GOAT, that's relative because styles make fights, and you can never really tell what would transpire if this guy goes with that guy.
Styles make fights, and it's also guys are building on the work that was done before them. Because if you look at the fighters from 1993, that's the best example because it's one of the rare sports where we get to see a stark contrast between the early days of the UFC and the current days. If you go back and watch basketball in 1993, it's pretty similar to basketball today. There might be better athletes today. People are better at everything today. But it's still basketball. The UFC is almost unrecognizable.
Yeah.
You watch the way people fought back then versus the way people fight now. I mean, there's no comparison. You got to go to like UFC 12, you see Vitor's debut, and you go, okay, well, now we're looking at like what a real modern mixed martial artist looks like.
Yeah.
And then there's a few guys along the way that were outliers that were much better than everybody else. And now you have a whole roster filled with people like that. And when you watch the development of fighters, every fighter learns from the people that are in their gym, and they learn from the people that they see fighting. And so everybody of today, you have Tyron Woodley's videos to watch. You have the fights that George St. Pierre had to watch. You had all these different fights that you can watch, and you can learn from all these. The Anderson Silva fights, the John Jones fights. Like, there's so much knowledge that's accumulated in the minds of the athletes now, and that's built on the people that came before them. I'm like, yeah, of course, they have to do the work. And yeah, of course, you know, the thing that's most impressive about a person like yourself is that in spite of all this knowledge out there and in spite of all these athletes, you were still dominating. The level's so high. There's so many great guys. I think the level of your competition was higher than the level of anybody else's competition because I think that everybody's better now.
Oh, absolutely.
I think when you look at the guys that you faced, and you look at Gilbert, and you look at Colby, and you look at Masvidal, you look at all these guys that you've faced, man, that's a serious resume of hard-hitting fighters, like really, really talented, really skillful fighters.
Yeah, when you start watching, and like I mentioned, I started doing research when I started getting more and more into MMA, and yeah, that's what I'm like. Damn, Joe had hair. Joe was. It
was 20 years ago, man.
That's crazy to me.
Nuts.
And that's how long you've been in the sport. You've been covering.
Well, I started in '97 as a post-fight interviewer.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's wild.
And some of the questions you'd ask too was wild. I'm like, damn. And the guys are fresh off the fights and having interviews, but even then you were on it. You were on the money. And I was like, damn, Joe's been doing this for a minute.
Bro, when I used to do it back then, I was on a television show, and they would talk to me like I was out doing porn. They're like, why are you doing that? That's what it was like. It was like I was involved in something seedy.
I know. It felt, I see that. I can see that. I can see how they felt that.
I was trying to explain to them. I'm like, this is the greatest sport in the world. It's going to be the #1 sport in the world. They're like, get the fuck out of here. Like, what are you talking about? I go, it's more exciting than any other sport in the world.
Yeah.
You just have to watch it.
And watching the evolution, because it was almost like guys came in with one skill, and they were battling to see which skill would dominate. And then you had the mixture, the guys that would come in now with two skills.
Like Marco Huas.
Yeah. And then you have guys like Rashad who come in with like 2-3 skills, who could wrestle, who could box.
And can knock you out.
And it's like, wow. And then, you got guys like Chuck, but Chuck just wanted to stand. But he had the wrestling to stop you from taking him down.
Yeah.
And then, the sport just kind of starts to shift and change into where guys are just ninja kids, not just guys. Kids are ninjas now.
Yeah, some of these guys coming up, 10 fights in, and you're watching them, you're like, gee, this guy looks like a world champion. They're so good. There's so much talent now. And also the eyes on them, there's so many more eyes. So there's so much more attention. So there's so much more, it's so much more intensity to a lot of these up-and-comers.
Oh, yeah. We have, there's some young guys that I just watch. I'm just like, holy shit, these guys are going to be a pro. I have one of my training partners named Archie. He was a wrestler at Wyoming. I think he was like a 3-time conference champion for Wyoming, and then went to national qualifier, and just strong, explosive wrestler, but he just wants to knock you out. He will just stand and bang with you the whole time until he does knock you out. And I watch these guys train. I'm like, man, these guys are going to be the future. And we have a young kid. It's a young Nigerian kid named Adamu. And he trains over at Killcliff with Henry Hooft. And I watch this guy spars with the world champion. And he's green. He spars with the world champion, and he's kicking him in the face. And he's just doing everything. I'm like, what the Yeah, I need to hurry up and get out of and get out of this before all these guys get to me and decides I can't be the butt of their jokes. Like, you don't want to be that guy.
Well, we were talking about staying off social media after the loss.
Yeah.
They're like, you can't read them memes.
It's funny to me. The thing is, everyone expected me. I feel like you get to a certain point, it's the weirdest thing to me. It's like, I don't understand how people people just want to see the demise of someone else. Like, it's like people are fiending for that. They sit there.
Yeah,
and
but
they're
that's
just
because
watching it.
you're so much more successful than them.
Yeah, that's
The
that's
average
what I don't
person-
understand.
The average person,
Yeah.
the idea of being the welterweight champion of the world, you walk into an arena and you raise your arms and 18,000 people go, yeah. That's alien.
Yeah.
You might as well be living on the moon. That doesn't even make sense to most people. So when
I
they
get
see
it.
someone like you and you're killing it, and you're going on this unbeaten streak, and you're dominating everyone. You dominate Tyron Woodley to win the title. You knock out Masvidal with one punch. Holy shit. It's wild.
Yeah.
So they just want you to fall apart because they can't compare to you.
Yeah, and it's, I recognize that, and even after the last time we spoke, and I'm not on social media like that. Like, I'll
Good.
post something here and there. Some days I'll go a few days and not even look at it. Some days I'll post. And that's, I guess, a good and a bad thing with the new algorithm that kind of Instagram has is you don't just see everybody's shit.
Right.
Now it's like maybe like your friends that constantly you talk to, you see their stuff. And so, I'll get on, my daughter's doing something cute, or I feel like it's something cool I want to share. I'll get on, I'll post that, and then I'll, get off. But I feel like, and it's even making people more upset because they expected me to feel a certain way that I'm not feeling.
How do you know what they expected?
Because people make fake pages with my it was hilarious to me. This was the funniest shit to me. It was a few, maybe a couple hundreds would go out of their way to create a whole page because when I was knocked out, I was like, my eyes were open, which was the craziest thing to me. Now that I've watched the fight over maybe like 10 times, and my eyes were open, which was weird. And so people would like screen grab that and make a fake page with that as the avatar, and have a page dedicated to that. Like, you got knocked out, you got this, for them to take time out of their day. I'm like, shit, I'm special. Like,
But mostly people that don't have a good life.
It's weird to
If
me.
they did
It's
have a
just
good
weird
life,
to me.
I don't have the time to do that shit. How do they have time to do that shit?
Yeah, I don't have
Where
time
they
to
have
even
the-
scroll through that.
Yeah.
Rather than
Yeah.
go out of your way to make a page and just because, but they think that bothers me. But it's funny to me. It was funny.
It made you laugh? Looking
Yeah,
at
it
the
made me laugh, and I,
Did you see the photo of me interviewing you in the middle of the head kick?
I almost posted that yesterday. Oh shit! I'm gonna post that. I was like, Joe, gotta get that interview.
That one's so rough.
No, it was what an experience though.
What do you remember after the head kick?
Oh man, this is I was dreading talking about this, but not in a bad way, but it's funny to me. So the fight is going, and there's a zone that I've learned to put myself in, and my coach is gonna kind of attest to this, like, because I do it even in training. There's a way that I train, that I practice, to where I try to get myself into the zone, which is as similar to a fight experience as I can be, and to where I try not to be bothered by anything that's going on. And my body has adjusted and gotten used to this. So in the first round, the fight's going on, and boom, that situation happens. He hooked my legs, and this is my bad knee. Well, my not so good knee, but both of them aren't the greatest. But so I'm like, okay, let me hip him through. So I tried to hip him through, but he just had great position. Kudos to him, and I get taken down. That I probably was more upset about, giving up that takedown. I was like, fuck. I gave up a takedown. So we get done, and he tries he takes it back, and I'm just chilling and waiting for the bell, and the bell goes off, and I get up. And I didn't realize this until I watched the fight back over. I get up, and I was kind of smiled. I get up and I jog back to my corner. But I look at it, and I'm like, okay, I know that's where I was at that time. I was in that zone to where I'm unbothered by whatever is happening. I am going to make this be whatever I want it to be. And so the next round, I just take off, and I just start kind of wailing on him. And so by the 5th round, I kind of have him in a spot to where I'm just like, I never think, okay, yeah, I've got the fight won. Let me just coast. Let me hold on to him and win. I never think that. I want to, if I can get the finish, I'm going to try to get that finish. And I want to do something spectacular. You know, I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a risk here. We're going to do something great. And I remember, and this is the great thing about Trevor Wittman, in the training camp, we work on certain techniques to kind of put him where you want him and get him out of there. Like even in the Masvidal fight, like everyone, the knockout just happened. No, I set him up for the knockout. People didn't realize. I did the same sequence in the first round that I did to finish him. And so I start that with Leon, you know, because I've kind of got Leon in a place now to where I could kind of really kind of dictate whatever I wanted to do. And so we get him, and I get him up, and I think Herb breaks us from the cage. So we're moving, and I'm trying to set him up, and I'm trying to get his feet moving. I wasn't doing the greatest of job, this is all on me, and I'm trying to get his feet moving. You see me change levels. And what I wanted to do was set him up, and I was going to throw the punches that he couldn't see, and I wanted to sit him down and get him out of there. I wanted to throw him with conviction and really get, like I did with Masvidal, and get him out of there. And so I'm like, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shake left, shake right, and then I'm going to let him go. But I got to get him moving first. And I didn't do a great job of that. And so I'm moving. I'm like, okay, I got him set up. All right, which I really didn't. I shake left, I shake right, and I'm sitting in the ambulance, and they're asking me, do you know where you're at? I'm like, what the
That's what you remember? You remember waking up in the ambulance?
Yeah, I was awake, but I remember coming to in the ambulance.
So you had been awake because you were walking around, but you were still
I was
gone.
good. Yeah, I was good. I watched the fight over. I'm good. I was talking. I talked to Trevor. I talked to, everyone. I apparently, because, you go back and then you go in the medical tent and they take care of you and all of that.
You don't remember any of that.
And they talked to me. I talked to my family. I hugged everyone because he was on video and everything. I remember sitting. It was like Leon gave me like a 20-minute nap. Which was it was. I think about, and I was laughing hysterically in the hospital because I had to go in just to get scanned and all of that, which everything was fine. So it's like immediately I'm in the ambulance. They're asking me, do you know where you are? I'm like, yeah, Salt Lake City, UFC 278. Like, what's your date of birth? I'm like, I answer them 5, and they were like, wow, perfect. I answered everything perfectly. They're like, oh, we still need to take you to the hospital just to get you scanned and everything like that. I was like, all right, fine. So we go to the hospital to get scanned and everything. But I was already good. I was okay. I was maybe disappointed that I lost, but I wasn't like bummed. Like the first loss that I had in my career, that one fucked with me.
Is that because you didn't know whether or not you would ever be able to make it?
Yeah. It was the uncertainty of the future.
Right.
And also because there was nothing I could do with that. I couldn't defend myself because I didn't have the knowledge of it.
Right.
That was what hurt me the most is I'm like, because when I was in that position, I could have fought it because I was standing up with the guy, a backpack, for almost a minute, and I had no idea what to do. And I wanted to go back to the ground and try to fight it, but in my head, I said, shit, I don't know what I'm doing down there if I go down there anyways. So no, I'm just going to stay up here until I eventually tap. But this one was like, okay, I know my mistakes. That's the one thing I've said. I'm very, very honest with myself. I am honest with myself to where I'm like, shit, okay, he got me. He got me, I didn't do a good job of what I wanted to do, and he got me. And I don't like the notion of everyone saying, oh, he got lucky. Yeah, he got lucky. Yeah, of course. But luck to me is not what everyone is saying. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. That's luck to me. You can't tell me that Leon didn't train that kick. Of course he did. I'm not even a southpaw, and I trained that kick. I know he trained that kick, and there's a video out. I don't know if that was before the fight or after or whenever that was, but they're like, look, his video of him actually training. Yeah, of course you trained that. That's what a well-rounded, the number one contender, mixed martial arts in the world should do, and they should know how to do, It's, yeah, of course he trained that. So, yeah, he did get lucky. He prepared to be able to land a kick like that. I presented him with the opportunity, and he landed the kick. And here we are. So, people are kind of trying to take away from his win. Oh, no, he landed a good kick, and he put me out. And now.
So, other than Michael Johnson, that's the first time you've ever been dropped?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible. What about the Gilbert fight?
Well, I mean, the thing with the Gilbert fight, I wasn't really, he didn't rock me to where I sat down. I was,
he just
buzzed.
stung you and you had to
it was
catch
just
yourself.
like, boom, that was a heavy shot. Shit. And I even put my hand down and I could see, I knew what was going on. He was coming at me and I put my hand down to brace and try to, control the situation. It was a heavy shot. Gilbert hits hard.
Gilbert hits hard.
He hits hard, but this one was like, hey, good night.
Yeah.
And he gave me a good 20-minute nap.
When you watched the fight,
Yeah.
where do you think you made an error?
I didn't get him to do what everything was perfect. That's the thing I love. My coaches are amazing. Trevor Wittman, Ben Charrington, George Santiago, and these guys, they do a great job. And my strength and conditioning coaches, Corey Peacock and Aaron, they do a great job of preparing me. They do a great job of what they have to work with, getting that prepared for battle. And for me, it was executing what I wanted to do. In that moment, there was a setup that I was trying to set Leon up, and I didn't execute it the proper way. I didn't move his feet the way that I wanted to move his feet. I didn't put him in the position where I wanted to put him in order to be successful with what I wanted to do. And so that was all on me. No, it was a great one. And the instructions, and I tried that based on the instructions that I got from Trevor. And it was amazing instructions because Trevor did tell me that, hey, when you're throwing your right hand, you're looping it, and he can see it because it's southpaw and he's just leaning back. And so I was like, oh shit, you're right. So I need to throw it a different way. And I was setting him up for that. And I didn't execute the way that I wanted to. And hey, he caught me slipping.
You said something about you get yourself into a mind state, a zone where nothing bothers you.
Yeah.
Is that because, like, you do see moments in fights where things don't go a fighter's way and you start to see some frustration, you start to see them, like, lose some of their focus, like they kind of get taken out of their game because things aren't going their way and you see things bothering them.
Yeah.
So is that something like, so if you recognize that you can put yourself in this very specific state of mind where no matter what happens, you are exactly the same way?
Yeah. And it took years for me to get to that point because, yeah, I'm human.
Yeah.
I get, stuff is not going your way. You start to, the anxiety starts to build and then you start to, start doing things uncharacteristic. For me, I've trained over and over and over to try to be as close to that zone as possible. And so
where you just execute.
Yeah, where I just
no matter what.
I don't care what happened. Like I kicked his elbow and I kicked his shin a couple of times. And if you ever kicked the shin and kicked it out,
it's not fun.
It's not. I'm sitting here I have a huge bump on my shin still and it's still swelling up, and I didn't care. It didn't even faze me, because I was in that zone. And I didn't care whether I got taken out. I don't give a shit if I get beat for 4 rounds of 50 minutes. Guess what? I'm still going to execute. That 10 seconds left, I'm going to execute what I set out to do.
This mindset, is this something that, have you managed this? Have you written things out? Is this something that you practice? Do you meditate? Like, how do you get yourself into that state?
Oh, man, just years of experience.
So it's just an experience thing?
Years of experience, trial and error, and all of the above. Like, I started meditating. I've grown a lot in the last 3 years. A lot. A lot has happened to me in the last 3 years. Whole ton. Life, experiences,
Your
relationships.
father's out of jail now.
Yeah, my father being back.
How great is that?
It's amazing. It's amazing for him to be able to witness now everything that's going on in my life and see it firsthand. That feels great to me. That's one of the joys of where I am now, which I think has kind of ultimately led me to the point where I am, because I see things. I'm more grateful for things, and that I see people kind of like look at me like an alien because if I'm not upset at certain things that don't go my way, or if I don't react a certain way to certain things, people are like, oh, well, why aren't you reacting this way? Why aren't you should be more upset? Oh, you're not disappointed, you're not hurt. No, and especially about this experience. The biggest, I would say, the most hurtful thing for me is I didn't represent. Well, it's not that I didn't represent. I did. I didn't get the result for the amount of work that I put in. The amount of work that my coaches put in with me.
Well,
my
you
coaches,
did minus 1 minute.
Exactly. But
that's
for
really
me
what it is.
For me is, I'm not one of those, oh, you kind of execute. No, I want to execute all the way through.
Right.
And so, yeah, I'm secure in knowing what I'm capable of. I know what I'm capable of doing to Leon Edwards and to anybody else in the world. I know that. And so it's funny to me now. Everyone's kind of writing it off like, oh, okay, they're talking about, yeah, this is a big fight, Leon and this guy, Leon and that guy. And I'm sitting like, I'm the best in the world. Are you serious? You know? So that I would say maybe might be a little irritation for my part, but it's not. It's I didn't feel like I didn't get the victory. So in my head, I'm like, damn, you didn't execute all the way through. But I know what I'm capable of. I've always known what I'm capable of. I knew that before I fought Tyron Woodley.
Do you think that this fight can actually elevate you to another level?
1,000%. 1,000%. Everything is a lesson for me. Everything, every experience, every failed relationship, failed business, all of that is a lesson for me. And I got a lot of flag. Like I saw that. Okay, the one moment I have to be honest that did hit my heart a little bit was when I was in the hospital with Ali. We were in the hospital together when I was getting scanned. I was already back. I watching the video clip of it. And he showed me that because I wanted to see how it happened, and I was like, "Damn, he got me. That was a good shot." You know, I was envious of it. Like I'm like, "Damn, he set me up good. That shit was beautiful." You know, it's like a form was just nice. You know, kudos to Leon, but then the camera pans into the audience. And they showed my daughter. My daughter cried, and she cried, and that it was like it was the weirdest thing. It was like an instant trigger response, like boom. My heart, like I wanted to cry just seeing that for her because as a parent, as a father, that's one of the worst things is we couldn't. And I learned that when my daughter was a infant is when they're sick or something's bothering them, you just feel it. It just hits your heart. And then when my daughter was crying, that one, it got to me. I was like, oh shit, I didn't like seeing that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I think Connor had tweeted something and was kind of blasting me about it, like, you know, for bringing her to the fight and this and that. And
Really?
And yeah, like he tweeted some mean things or certain things like that, and it was just like I'm how low at people sometimes. But for me, it was like, fuck no, like they don't understand it. They don't understand. They're just in a low level of thinking to it. They don't understand. Like, absolutely, I'm gonna bring her. My daughter's not only gonna see when daddy's victorious and daddy just continues to beat everybody and daddy gets to, you know, put her in the best school or whatever she wants to be. No, you know, because I'm in a weird place. Like I'm trying to teach her. She has work ethic, but it's kind of like, I don't want to do that today, or I don't want to go to gymnastics, or I don't want to do that this week. And she's kind of like, doesn't want to do it. Oh, I don't like it anymore. I want to quit, you know. And I'm trying to teach her the best way that I can without forcing her to do something of what it takes to work hard. And my daughter has been going to the gym with me ever since she was 6 months old, so she understands that, and she's okay with it. That's why she can watch my fights. But I'm not only going to bring her because daddy's victorious. I am blessed right now with an opportunity to show my daughter that, look, you could fall down and look how you can get back up. And so it was to see people like, and someone like Connor who actually does have children to say something like that. It was like, man, you're missing the mark big time, bro. You're missing it big time, because I am blessed with how I am blessed. How often do you get an opportunity like that to where you can give them an example of how it is to rebound at the highest level?
Do you think about your daughter in the audience while you're fighting at all?
No.
Is it when you get to the cage, do you think about the fact that she's there, or are you just completely focused?
No, I try to limit my... This is like fight week. I had to get comfortable with bringing her around fight week, because, and I learned this. The first fight she ever went to was the Tyler Woodley fight, and my daughter, we have this bond to where my daughter wants to be sweet. She's gonna be sweet. She's gonna be on me. She's gonna rub my face and grab me, just be very affectionate, and I just felt this overwhelming sense of no, because in the coming weeks I built myself into this ironclad guy, to this mental state that I want to be in to go to war. And with my daughter, she flips the switch on all that. She turns it off. and I learned that at that fight, like, okay, I got to limit my moments with her, because she softens me up.
Right.
And so when I see her now, it's like moments I try to really fight that and stay in that place and not spend too much time with her, because she's going to get affectionate, and I don't want to make her feel weird for being affectionate, but at the same time I understand what I am feeling and the mental state that I'm in. So no, by the time I walk into the cage, I'm already that person. When they come and get you from that back room and they say, all right, it's your time, so I pace back and forth in the backstage before I do the walk, and I'm starting to slowly climb into the Nigerian Nightmare when I step inside that cage. So when I'm there, I don't even know, I don't feel, I don't see, I don't hear, I don't care that they're there. I have a task, I have a job to do, and that's what I need to do.
So the fight is over, time has passed. What do you do now as far as prepare to fight again? And do you go straight to a Leon Edwards rematch?
That's a good question. I've never been in this situation. So for me, it was always like, all right, well, I get home and I'm home for like 2-3 days and I start getting bored. And because it's only so much, like I drive her to school, I get her ready in the morning, take her to school. Then I come back home, it's like 8:30 and I'm just like sitting there because I can't go back to sleep.
Right.
It's 8:30 in the morning, I'm just sitting there like, shit, all right, oh well, let's go train. And I usually go back to the gym and, whether it's just hitting a bag or doing something, rolling with George, it's something. But now it's with the fight, the way it ended, they're like, hey, you can't train for a certain amount of time.
You can't hit the bag?
Well, they don't want me doing anything to, I guess, cause vibration or to my brain or anything like that. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna lay low. Just give it because I very rarely do I have a break. Very, very rarely do I have someone say, hey, stop. You can't train. Even when I'm in training camp, practice is over. As soon as Trevor leaves the room, my mind is already like, what else can I do today? What else can I do to push, to enhance what I've just learned? And so it's kind of a relief. It's kind of a change to where one time I sat in my movie room for like 4 hours. I watched the fight like 3 times in a row, over and over and over, and then watch the movie or something. Then I'm waiting. I'm just waiting for my daughter to get out of school. I'm like, okay, she's about to be done. All right, let's get ready to go get her. So I'm already bored and I want to go train. I want to go do something. I feel completely fine. Like I said, it was almost like Leon gave me a 20-minute nap and I was back.
And there was no other repercussions?
Nothing. I feel nothing except for the bump on my shin for kicking his elbow, and I feel nothing. So I want to go back, but the doctors are like saying, which I have to listen because they're supposed experts, and they're like, yeah, even though you might not feel anything, there might be some bruising back there that you don't know that could cause some type of harm later on. So
how many weeks?
I don't know, a few weeks.
Just
a few weeks, yeah. But I'm already thinking about what I can do, push-ups, sit-ups, or do this or that to just stay in shape because I'm I already feel like, I'm addicted to that burn of that workout, the burn of physical activity. I can honestly say I'm an addict to that.
You talk openly about this, so I could bring it up, but it's amazing how well you can fight and how well you can train with your knees the way they are.
I just go.
Your mental strength in that regard is really extraordinary because like you've got some fucked up knees.
Yeah.
But you don't see it when you're fighting. You don't notice it at all. You're throwing kicks, you're wrestling.
It's I've just been conditioned over time to when it's time to just compete, we compete. I don't care what's going on. We compete. And
are they getting worse?
I don't think so.
No?
I mean,
stabilized.
I think they're stabilized because over time now I've usually I could just go into a practice, like I said, that one day Rashad just came in, didn't really even warm up and still whipped my ass. I could usually do that, but now it takes me about 45 minutes to warm up. To even if my workout might be 30 minutes, it takes me about 45 minutes to warm up. And I try to be religiously diligent in that, in knowing that I have to get that in order to prolong my ability to stay here. I have to do that. And then after you're done, you got to stretch, you got to cool down, which I'm much better at, but I'm still working out the kinks of those.
It's amazing how many fighters don't stretch.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys are so crazy.
It wasn't, but that's because it wasn't part of the culture.
Yeah.
We weren't taught that. It was just like show up, spar, all right, go home, sit on your couch,
But in terms of like your ability to like execute kicks, it makes such a giant difference.
It does.
Flexible guys kick so much easier. It's like there's less resistance.
Yeah. It's just the mechanics of how they get the leg up there.
Mm-hmm.
The technique they are.
So you have to wait a few weeks before you can train again. And then once you start training again, then you get an assessment of like when you'd be able to compete again?
No, I mean, I think to compete, I think they would, doctors would sign off in about 2 months. They would say you'd be okay.
When you get knocked out cold,
Yeah.
do you think that the more time off, the better? In terms of fights?
I don't know. It's weird that.
So remember when Manny Pacquiao got? I know it's weird.
It's weird
right?
that.
I know. Usually I'm
you
asking.
got knocked out cold, Jamie. You got knocked out cold.
Well, usually when I'm talking to you in the conversation of like you might be the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Now we're talking to you in this conversation about like how do you get back in there?
Yeah. No, I think for me personally, everyone's these experts. Everyone's throwing these things out. Like, no, he needs to wait a month, 2 months, 3 months. Oh no, can he ever? That's this was the funniest thing to me that I've been seeing so far on the internet. Is he ever going to be the same again? How is he going to come back? How is he going to do this? How is he going to do that? Is he going to be gun shy? Is he going to? Fuck no. I'm fine. Like right now, I wanted to train last week. I wanted to go in and spar last week, but I knew that probably wasn't the wisest thing to do.
There is a thing that happens to fighters, and I'm not saying this is going to happen to you.
Yeah.
But when they've been knocked out more than once, oftentimes, they lose their chin.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I don't feel any different. And I think the good thing about the way that I compete anyways is I try not to take punishment. I try to use my brain. I try to use, I want to outthink the guys when I'm in there fighting. And I think I do that pretty well. So, but I'm listening to, the experts and the guys that have, that have the knowledge of what this is. And they're saying, if they're saying, okay, you need to wait a month and not take any hard training or heavy this, yeah, of course. I have nothing but time. I mean, the only logical thing that makes sense is to fight this guy again.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's where the money is too.
Yeah, but for me, it's not necessarily about the money. I don't really care about the money. For me,
don't tell Dana that.
I mean, Dana,
he cares about the money.
I do care. Of course, me and Dana talk. Me and Dana, we here, so he knows. But for I do care. I like to be, of course, I want to be rewarded for the time that I put in. But for me, it's the main thing is representing the work that I put in. That's the biggest thing for me. I give everything for this. Like, I've sacrificed a lot. I sacrifice relationships. I sacrifice time with my daughter. I think this camp I was gone almost like a 6-week stretch. Like, this is time that I won't get back. All these things that I sacrificed. I sacrificed time with friends, you know, like for me, I just live this. You know, I'm in camp, and even like my nutritionist, the chef, and she'll make me food. Some days I'll come in and I won't even talk. I'll just eat. The food's there ready, and I'll just eat. And I know in her head she wants to have a conversation, or she's wondering why isn't he, you know, talking. I just want to eat. You know, I'm living in my head, and I'm going through this experience. And maybe that day Trevor put me through a workout that was just super tough, that I was fluctuating with dealing with it mentally while I was doing it. So I'm reflecting on that the whole time. So I might sit there and just stare off into space while I'm eating, and I know she probably wonders, like, why isn't he talking? Why isn't he? But that's it. I sacrifice all of those things for what I am doing right now. And so, yeah, I have to represent that. Each and every time I step in there, I want to represent that to the fullest. You know, I don't spend as much time with my mom and dad. You know, my dad's out now, and, you know, I'm sure he's having a blast, you know, now, seeing where we all are in life. But I would love to spend more time with them. But I sacrifice all of that to go and try to be great at this.
So, in an ideal timeline, when would you like to have a rematch?
I think what makes more sense is to go to London or go to England somewhere. I think that makes sense. And
that makes sense.
I love the idea. I love it. And so I think they're already booked all the way up until January. So I think anytime February, March.
So
Yeah,
that's a
let's
good
rock.
amount of time, too. That's a good amount of time to recover.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's almost like it just lines up perfectly. Yeah, so I'm going to take the time. I'm going to make sure that I listen to all the experts and take the appropriate time to let it heal. If they say, oh, yeah, you're healed now, which I already feel fine, then, hey, let's rock and roll.
Yeah, that will be bananas.
Oh, yeah.
That fight will be bananas. That will be one of the biggest fights in the history of the sport for sure. I mean, it's going to be epic because it was such a shocking result. It was so unexpected. You know, it came out of nowhere in a fight you were dominating, and the rematch in England. I mean, Leon's a hero over there now. I mean, it would be it's going to be gigantic.
Yeah, I think
I'm going to have to go over there for that one.
Joe, you got to come.
I might have to go.
You got to
I might have to take that trip.
This is, I mean, it just lines up. Like that's the thing is, I'm so grateful for some of the things that I am experiencing in life. I was grateful to be able to fight Tyron Woodley for the belt and win. And I'm grateful to be able to defend. And I always wanted to headline a pay-per-view in Vegas. I did that with Covington. It's like, wow, that was great to me. It's like all these amazing things. And then it's like, MSG, wow, that would be cool. And then I get the call. It's like, oh, shit, I'm going to do that too. I was grateful for that. Then now to be a part of potentially headlining a stadium show in England.
Yeah, they're talking about Wembley, right?
Yeah.
Which is, what is that, 80,000 people?
Yeah, something like that. That
shit.
I thought 18. I thought 18. Like, I walk out of Salt Lake City, which is big shout out to Salt Lake City. Big shout out to all the guys that took care of us there, Sean and all those guys. The AG, and they did a fantastic job taking care of us. They were very hospitable, and so I'm thinking, you know, I love it. Because I went to school in Colorado and Iowa in the Midwest, so I'm like, okay, Salt Lake City, and I live in Colorado. I'm like, I'm you know, I don't know what to expect here. And I walk out, I'm walking out, I'm like, holy shit, these people are on top of me. Like, they were like right there. They were right there.
It's an intimate arena.
It was, it was intimate, and they were packed. I was like, wow, this is incredible.
And they were hyped
Oh
up.
yeah, oh yeah,
To have a big title fight in Salt Lake like that, they were hyped up.
oh yeah. I'm hoping they enjoyed the show, and not the result I wanted, but
Well, you got a great attitude about it, I'll tell you that, man. You know, your attitude about the relief of it is very similar to Matt Hughes' attitude. I remember when I interviewed Matt Hughes after BJ beat him, and he was very honest inside the cage. He said, I have to be honest, it's a relief. Like, it's a lot of pressure, you know, like constantly having these guys like biting at my heels. And, you know, I'm going to go back and hit the gym and regroup and come back stronger.
yeah, I feel like that. But I got used to dealing with, to where I didn't even think about the guys anymore. You know, it was always someone. You know, as soon before you even get done, oh, that guy's next. It was always someone. But I got used to that in wrestling because, you know, the 3 years Division II, I was ranked number 1 going into the national tournament, and so I kind of made friends with everyone looking at me as that guy, the number 1 guy they were coming after, and that was fine for me. It was fine. I got beat my sophomore year and junior year. I got beat in the national finals, and then senior year, I was like, no, I'm gonna win this thing. And I eventually did win it. But I feel like everything in my life leading up to it has just been preparing me for it, you know. And I'm just blessed to be able to still be able to do it, you know. To say that I talk to my friends, which I consider like big brothers, Daniel Cormier and these guys. And Daniel was like, yo, when you stop, this shit stops. It just stops, and you feel it. Because as an elite athlete, you feel that.
Yeah.
And I think some of these guys are still chasing that. I mean, Conor is still chasing that. He loves that feeling, which, you know, more power to him if he can still get there. But
the difference between the life of a combat sports athlete and then regular life when it ends is really hard for people to adjust. It's very crazy because it's all about building up to these moments, these extreme moments.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And, you know, if you have a career that's 40 fights, you have 40 of these wild-ass moments in your life. And then everything other than that is preparing for the next moment. It's like celebrating the victory of the moment, rebuilding from the defeat of the moment, training, and getting ready for the next moment.
Yeah.
And then no more moments forever. It all goes away. And for some people, that's hard. Some people find something cool to do, and they find like a crazy hobby that they really enjoy, and they find something that really they can focus on. But I think for a guy who chases excellence his whole life, like yourself, it's very difficult to find something to do with that energy. Because what you're doing is you're not just chasing excellence, you're chasing it globally. You're trying to be the most dominant person at 170 pounds on planet Earth, and you're succeeding at it. And you put forth this immense amount of concentration and determination and discipline and effort and thought and just focus and the process over and over again, day in and day out with incremental improvements. And then you have these moments. And then, boom, you land that right hand on Masvidal and he goes to sleep. Like that kind of moment.
Yeah.
And then the world cheers. But those go away. They go away. You have to find some sort of funnel for that energy.
That's a very good way of putting it because and I like I said I try to learn from the guys that have done it before, and that's one of the things. Whether you win or lose, you're gonna go up and down. You're gonna have a come down.
Yeah.
And there's just moments where you feel the depression kind of setting a little bit. And obviously worse when you do lose. And I recognize those. And I've been, over the years now, I've been, trying to kind of branch out and learn different ways and get into different things to be able to do that. And, I've taken up, which I would love to have a conversation one day, hopefully being in the same setting as Michael Jordan. I would love to have a conversation with a guy like that. And the Tiger Woods and all these guys, and have a conversation with them and just,
what is it like?
I love learning.
Yeah.
What is it like for you guys?
Yeah.
But now I'm starting to learn. I'm branching out. I took up tennis. I'm starting to learn tennis, taking tennis lessons.
That seems like it's more fucked up for your knees.
Yeah, golf lessons. I'm starting to take a little bit of lessons there, and even in the business world, I've started to kind of dabble a little bit in that. Which I've been screwed over a couple times.
Already?
And like, oh fuck, like that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's hard when you're doing something like this because this has to take a lot of my attention.
Right.
And so, even in the business world, I've been, I've been got a few times, Joe. I tell you two quick stories. One, first time I was got by this some girl in Miami named Lisa Anderson or something like that, and she was I guess a day trader, and knew Rashad. So this was right. I became champion right after time with Lisa. The first time I really made significant money, and everyone, tells you, oh, you have to invest, you have to invest, you have to invest. I'm like, oh, fuck, okay. I need to start now, to invest something. And, me and Rashad, I meet with some advisors, and I'm thinking about working with them. And that same day, after that meeting, I met with Rashad. Me and Rashad had lunch, and Rashad's like, oh, yeah, I know this girl who does investments and things like that. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know how well he knew her. He was just like, oh, I know this girl. And I was like, oh, yeah. He's like, yeah, you should probably holler at her, So Rashad's always, that's like big brother. He's always trying to, like, help me out in this way and that way. So finally meet the girl, like, eventually we connect, and she's not bad looking,
That's part of the problem. That's how they get you.
It's not bad looking. And she just, I guess games me up over time, and make a long story short, she got me out of like 55 bands, 55,000.
Really?
Got me. Haven't seen a dime back.
What did she do? How'd she do it?
She was a day trader, and we signed this contract to where, okay, you invest this amount, and this is the amount of interest that she can incur over time.
Is it in a fund?
In a fund, yeah. She had these small funds in increments of, I think maybe $500,000 or 300,000, and I had different people in the fund, and whatever, I don't know what she did, but eventually she got me for 55. I tried to reach out to her to get the money back, nothing. And then over time, then she had messaged me like maybe a year later, like, hey, I'm sorry, I lost everything. I wanted to reach out to you and blah, blah, blah. For me, it was just like, I'm not fucking getting it back.
So was she just making bad investments, or did she swindle it?
I have no idea. It's South Florida.
Oh, boy, fucking South Florida, so crazy.
Oh, which leads me to the next one. Oh, my God. So this guy, it's a guy named Pino. And
right away, I'm nervous.
and he's Canadian, from Canada. He owns this franchise, pizza pasta franchise in Canada named Vivo. And I met him through a mutual friend, that I had in Florida. A friend of mine that was, smart guy into business, and the friend's like, hey, he has this restaurant that he's already has like 5-6 locations in Canada doing well, blah blah blah, and I just happened to go to Canada maybe 2017 or 2018, and then he's like, hey, come look at these restaurants, and I go look at them, and amazing. I mean, crowds, people, and I have the food, and it's amazing. I'm like, okay, this is cool, but I'm still reluctant. Like I don't know enough about this. And the guy, and the way he talks, is Italian guy. He's like, hey, and he calls me Kumar. I'm like, that's not my name. He's like, it's like, hey, Kumar, like, hey, we're gonna go here, we're gonna eat, and we're gonna have a great time. I'm telling you, this is gonna be the best ever you've ever. And he talks like that, and it's just something. You have that intuition,
right?
But you don't fucking listen to it. You're just and he's like, okay, I'm coming down. I want to basically do the same thing in South Florida. I'm doing the chain and whatnot, and I'm still reluctant because all my advisors and my accountant says, don't get involved in a restaurant business. Don't do it. Especially if you don't know what you're doing. Don't do it.
Yeah.
So I listen for a while, and then he just somehow uses my friends, people around me, to get to me. So all in all, we get a group, the guys of us. He gets us for like $500,000. And, he sells us the restaurant, like one of the business. And he got them, because they were in for another location. So he got them for like over $1 million. So the one I invested in was a different location. And he got us for $500,000. But he turned around and sold it to the same time sold it to another couple like Paige and I forget her name, Paige and Paul. Someone got them for like $500,000. Turns around, sells it to another one. Like this is all like he sells the same restaurant to like 3 or 4 different people.
Oh my God.
And I remember sometimes he would talk to us and he'd say, I don't like these people down here in South Florida. They're a bunch of scammers. I don't like these people. And when people talk about scammers, chances are they are the scammers.
Right.
And he gets us for that much, and he's I don't know, I think he's sold it to someone else now, a different group now. And the thing is, he's still walking around. What, like, especially
How much did
me.
he steal? All told.
He got them for some of my friends. He got them for over $1 million.
And then he got those other
us,
people too.
He got our group for another $500,000. Then he got them for another half. The other group, Paige and Paul, for like $500,000.
So a couple million at least.
But who knows how many people he's done that to? I mean, he's got locations all through Canada.
What's the name of the place?
Vivo Pizza Pasta.
So what does he
like
do?
that.
He sells it to a bunch of different
He's
people.
a
and then
franchiser, and then I don't want to speculate on what he's doing with the money, but all I know is he sold us a location that we paid him for. Never was built the time where he said it would be built. Nothing, anything like that. And then now he's saying he didn't get money from us. While we're like, here's the receipts. He's like, no, I didn't get that much. It's like, what?
And he lives in Canada?
He lives in Florida and Canada. So he's like I could see him around in Florida.
Jesus Christ.
He would probably be in a restaurant. It's a close place where we live. So I could probably see him in a restaurant. He's just sitting there eating.
What would you
probably
do?
swindling someone else. I don't know. Probably nothing. The smart individual, the smarter individual that I am now, probably nothing, because that's just an opportunity for him to get more money out of me. Like if I go up and let's say he decides to, I'm gonna get brave and talk reckless to him because he knows it's gonna provoke me and try to get in my face and do this. Well, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
People like that, I can't hit him. I can't, like I'm a boy, I'm a man. At some point, I'm gonna want to get physical. I can't do that because if I do that, it's like, yes, now I get more money out of him.
Can you sue him?
Yeah, I think we're in the process of trying to do that, but
how long has this been going on?
It's for a while now, over a year.
That's why I don't get involved.
Yeah,
I don't get involved in anything. People ask me to invest in stuff. I'm like, you're on your own, fucker. I don't have any time, man.
I know.
I don't have any time.
I know.
I have zero time for
but
that.
these are all lessons. These are all things that I'm learning. And
it's a good attitude. Because that is how you have to look at it. They really are just lessons.
Yeah, and the whole thing same thing with my daughter is like, now with this loss, it's she doesn't give a shit.
Oh, that's great.
Like the next day, she's like, "Oh, I gotta go to school. Hey, can I go to this park and play? Can I go do this?" And my daughter doesn't care. Yeah, I have to live with it, but I'm I get a rare opportunity to rebuild, to work myself up and show her that, look, it's not the end of the world. Like you could still get back to this point. You could still do something. And so, yeah, it was weird to me that, people would speak on that and negatively about that. And Connor would say something about, that's why I don't bring my family, or I wouldn't bring my family.
Well, he's just trying to fuck with you. I think
but
there was a time where he was angling towards a fight with you.
Yeah, but that's the thing is I gave him an opportunity to fight me. He didn't take it. So
was this post-Poirier fight when he broke his leg or before that?
Before that. Oh, yeah, before that. Before I gave him an opportunity, he didn't want to do it. Like he broke his leg. Like even when he broke his leg, I didn't kick him while I was down. That's a very tough injury. I almost felt for him. I almost wanted to even send him a message and say, hey man, you heal up, you'll be back. Like I would do, that's just kind of who I am. This is sport. It's fucking sport. At the end of the day, you're still a human being. If I saw you on the side of the road and you needed help or something was wrong, if I could, I would 100% try to help.
There's a few people I'd pass right by.
Yeah, okay.
A few people I'd honk my horn. I go, hey, good luck, fuckface.
Yeah, maybe that guy now in Florida.
Fuck Pino.
Yeah, that guy. I'd probably be like,
yeah.
I'd probably walk by.
Bro, you got a flat tire. That's it. That's it. No help. I hope your phone runs out of batteries. Fuck out of here, you crook.
Yeah.
There's so much scamming going on in South Florida.
Oh my God,
Because so much partying, so many partiers. And
it's a unique place.
it definitely is. Yeah.
It's like a different country in its own.
Yeah.
Because and South Florida it's almost like it's a service industry. Like anything you need serviced, they service it for you in South Florida. It's that. So a lot of people are posing and trying to pose and do that, you know, that they're this and that, but it's really not that.
That's a great way to put it, like a service industry. They're almost talking to you like salespeople.
Yeah, everything is a sale. You know, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, financial, everything. It's a sale.
They're selling everything.
They're selling everything in South Florida.
How many girls got rich just scamming rich dudes in Florida? There's a whole industry.
Whole industry. You know, the nightlife and the business and just everything.
And everyone's moving and shaking, and now everyone wants to get involved in NFTs. They all want to talk to you about NFTs, and you know, are you into crypto? Because we can get you into crypto, bro. You're like, you got a crypto wallet? You're like, huh? What?
Yeah, I do actually have a crypto wallet. I have 3.
There's nothing wrong with crypto.
Yeah,
but it's the people that get involved in it.
Do you have crypto?
Yeah, I've got some. I got some Bitcoin.
Yeah,
But
I got some Bitcoin too.
It's the people that get into that recognize there's a lot of fuckery in NFTs and Bitcoin. It's like, what NFTs in particular? It's like, what is that? Like, what's going on there?
I don't. I've
had it explained to me a dozen times or more. I don't get it.
I still don't get it, but at the same time, I'm not ignorant in recognizing that things are moving a certain way.
Yeah.
I can't be like the whole metaverse thing. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous to me. The fact that they're selling real estate in this is a place that's not in a make-believe universe. They're selling, people are actually paying money for this. Is wild to me.
I found out from my friend Tim Dillon. He was on the podcast. He goes, "Do you own any virtual real estate?" And I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" And then Jamie had to pull up all the different kinds of virtual real estate you could buy. How people, like companies, are buying it.
What?
They're buying up big swaths of virtual reality. Like, what does it even mean?
What? Yeah. What is like?
I guess the idea is like get in early, and then if it is very valuable, you got in early, so you got this virtual real estate before it, you know, the price skyrocketed.
But if it's okay, this is the thing. If it's a virtual real estate, like there's no end to the possibilities there.
I don't get it.
So then how is it valuable?
I don't get it. I mean, I don't get it at all. I scratch my head and I go, can't anybody just make virtual real estate? Can't you keep making more virtual real estate? Like, how controlled is this whole metaverse thing? Is there only going to be one? Is there going to be multiple metaverses?
It's weird the things that we as humans put value on. Mm-hmm. It's weird to me. And I had an experience with my daughter with this. And I had actually Ali bought her a pair of shoes one time for her birthday, and it was the Balenciagas like that, like you put on like they feel like socks. Some of the most comfortable shoes I've worn, and I wouldn't at that point, and I have enough money to buy them. I wouldn't buy those. They were like $1,100. I'm like, no fucking way I'm gonna buy those. And then the kids' size were like $700. No way in hell I'm gonna spend $700 for my kid.
She's gonna grow out of them.
Well, she's gonna grow out of them in a month or a couple of months. So I'm like, no. But Ali wanted to just buy her something. So I was like, bro, it was such a thoughtful and special gift. So I buy it, and he buys it, and I give it to her, and she loves them, and she's like, oh man, these are great. And I remember as soon as I gave it to her, and I said that to her, I said, hey, don't wear this to school because I know when she goes to school, she's just going to play. Recess, they have recess twice a day. She's going to wreck those quickly. And I'm like, you don't want to wear them in school because you don't want to mess them up. So I said, and I'm going off of the experience that what my parents would tell me. And so I'm gone. I think I go out of town for something. I got to go do a show or something. And I come back the next week and I see the shoes. They were like wrecked. I was like, Samir, you wear your shoes to school, and I instantly I caught myself. I'm like, I have to be careful how I approach this with her. I was like, hey, did you wear these to school? And she's like, yeah. I was like, well, you see how dirty they are? She's like, yeah, but we can just clean them. And, you know, she kind of talks to me like that, like it's a little smart sass now. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we could clean them. So we clean them. And she started, and at this point, I'm just like, oh, fuck, who cares? She's just going to wear them anyways. So she's wearing them. Then the next week, she goes to gymnastic practice. And I didn't know I was somewhere. I think I was in Denver and training. And so she calls me. She FaceTimes me. Some random number FaceTimes me. And it was her at gymnastics. I think waiting to be picked up. Her mom was waiting to pick her up. And she was with one of her friends. She calls me and she goes, hey, Daddy, can you, and we're talking. I'm like, hey, what's up? What's going on? And she's sitting next to another little girl. And she goes, my friend, I forget her name. My friend loves my shoes. Can you buy her a pair of shoes?
Whoa.
And I remember in my head, and I was just like, in my head, I'm like, fuck, what? Fuck no. You know how much? I didn't even buy those for you. You know how much those cost? You know, in my head, I'm thinking this, but then I had to snap into it very quickly. I had to catch myself. And I'm just like, she doesn't know and she doesn't care what those shoes are. We put value on it. We as adults have put a value that those shoes are worth $700. She doesn't give a shit. She doesn't know and she doesn't care. All she cares about, the value that she cares is making her friend feel good for wanting to have the same shoes that she has. That's all she cares about. And in my head, I'm like, those are fucking $700. I'm not buying those. I didn't even buy you those ones. I'm not doing that. But she's just like, hey, can you buy these for my friends? She just wanted to make her friend feel good. And I had to catch myself. And me and Eddie Alvarez, we had a conversation about this. And I was just like, wow, so crazy how it's like kids got this shit figured out mentally. They don't care. There's no attachment to that $700 pair of shoes. They don't give a shit. All they care about is the experience and how their friend is going to feel when they give them this gift. And I remember I had caught myself. I was like, holy shit. I have to approach certain things differently here. Like this little girl is teaching me so much and enhancing me so much, even with my relationships and how I deal with them now and deal with maybe a loss of a relationship or gaining a new one, how you deal with them. I'm learning so much so fast. It's almost like, and I still feel like I felt when I was 12, but I'm fucking 35. I'm like, this is probably how, you know how we'll see 60-year-olds that are doing young things and you're like, at your age, you're 60. You know, no, they just feel a certain way. They still feel the same.
Well, we're assuming that when you get to be a certain age, you're going to run out of energy.
Yeah.
And you're going to be exhausted, and so you should act your age.
Fairly accurate assessment.
Yeah, that's what happens with most people. But you can keep that shit going a lot longer than most people do. The problem is most people are lazy.
Yeah.
And they just don't take care of their body. And you got to take care of your body the entire time.
Yeah.
So if you get to some people and they're like 70 years old and like act your age, like, why should he?
Yeah.
Why should he? He's fucking healthy. He's out there running around doing shit. That's what you should do if you can.
Oh, yeah.
We just also assume that people get broken down by jobs, too. They're broken down by work and responsibilities. And, you know, you just got to be some boring person who can't be silly about shit. Can't have fun.
Joe, you're living. I don't live your life, so I can't really, speak on it. But if I know how I feel when I'm home in my house, I don't want to leave. And yeah, of course, now people make it a lot harder for me to even want to be outside, be around people. But I don't want to leave. I could stay in my house all day and just be there.
Yeah.
But this setup like here, I would never leave. Do you have a bed here?
No.
You don't have a bed here?
No, I'd probably sleep here if I did.
Yeah, I would probably build. That's probably one of the things that I build. I'd build a room here with a bed, a comfortable bed, and I would never leave. You got your gym here. You got your recovery, your therapy, your sauna and cold tub and all of that here. I would never leave.
I have that shit at home too. It's like that shit's important. That's
Slight flex is
sauna.
like, yeah, I got that at home too. That's why I don't leave my house.
You know, people want like what's a great luxury item? A sauna and a cold plunge.
Yeah.
If you're an athlete, if you're a person who works out all the time, sauna and a cold plunge. If you're a person who values your immune system, wants your recovery to be better, you want to reduce inflammation in your life, sauna and a cold plunge. Yeah. Get those two motherfuckers back to back. Do 20 minutes in that sauna and do like 3 to 5 minutes in that cold plunge. You get out, you're a different human. You're a different human. And then if you do it all the time, your body has so much more resilience. You bounce back from things so much better.
Do you think it's beneficial to go more than the 3 to 5 minutes?
Probably not.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so. I did 20 minutes once. It wasn't smart.
Yeah, me neither. I did it too. I think the most I did, I think 18 minutes.
Yeah, you feel fucked up for days. Yeah, you show mental toughness, but then for days, my body's like, what is wrong? Everything feels weird.
That's exactly how I felt. And I did. It was I was just building up to it in camp. Mm-hmm. And I would, I think it was maybe the Masvidal camp. That's Masvidal too. I would go in cold plunge over with Rose and Pat. After we'd work out, we'd get in there. And I would start, I think we started at, usually I'd do 8 minutes. And then I started 10. 10 is like my thing. 10 minutes, I get in there. And then I just kept going. It was like 12 minutes. And then one day I got into that zone, what I was talking about, a lot earlier in camp. I got into it like maybe a week or two before I was done with camp. So I was just in there and I was just like, no. And Pat came out, I was like, oh yeah, that's time. Like, it's okay. All right.
Well, are you using one where they pour the ice in the water?
I used to that at Rose and Pat, we did that one. But now Justin has one that is like has the filter and the pumps and everything. It's just the water. That shit is cold.
That's the shit.
That shit is cold. And that's when I did all this camp, and I think I did maybe like 8-10 minutes.
That's a lot.
That one.
Yeah, that's a lot. Those are the real ones, though. That's where you get the real. So like, some people brag about the ice plunge. And I'm like, put a fucking thermometer in that bitch. That shit's 48 degrees. That ain't nothing.
Nah,
it's not that cold.
This one was fucking cold.
Those are the real ones. Like Morosco Forge, that I have one of those at home, and that fucker's at 33, 34 degrees. There's always ice floating in it. And then the one here, the Blue Cube, is 37 degrees, but it's moving. The water's moving. So it's like you're in a fucking cold river.
Well, not Pat, Justin.
You're
Justin
in a 37-degree river. Like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, I got it. This time I went in. And I go in hands too. Because actually the first day I did, my little brother kept telling me, yeah, put your hands in there. Put your hands. That's the way he tells me.
What, you weren't doing the hands?
I would go like neck up, but I would put my hand out. Just in case, someone breaks in the house, I need to be able to hop out. Yeah, I got to get out quick. So that day I think it was maybe my brother telling me to put my hands in was kind of like, no, I'm not putting my hands in. No, I'm good. And I needed it because this is the one I just had surgically repaired. I should have put it in that day. So I didn't. And it was cold. I mean, because you hit that wall about 2-3 minutes in.
Yeah.
And then once I get through that, then I'm just in there. And I'm like, okay, I can do more. I can do more. That's when I start pushing the limits of what I can do. And yeah, Trevor's been doing it now. Like he just does it every day. Him and his wife, they'll do it every day. And Justin is still, he has it in his house, but I think he's still questionable whether he'll do it or not.
Does he have anything scheduled?
No, I don't think, not yet. He's still chilling. He's still taking some time. But he's kind of like me. Like, he'll come in the gym, he'll watch me train, and then he'll like punch the bag, or like hit the other bag. It's kind of fun when we come in our gym at Onyx. We have all the little gadgets and different things that Trevor has and uses to train us. So it's like, for me, it's hard to walk by a speed bag and not punch it. It's very hard. I'm like, okay, let me just hit it once. Let me see if I got the little pattern. Next thing you know, I'm there 5 minutes. I'm just running the bag. And so Justin's kind of like that.
Trevor makes the best fucking equipment.
Oh yeah,
His
He's a mastermind.
MMA gloves should be adopted by all organizations. The fact that the UFC and him haven't come to some sort of an agreement doesn't make any sense to me. Because the UFC gloves that they use are so inferior to the gloves that Trevor makes. Those Onyx MMA gloves, I think we would have less eye pokes because they make your hand curve.
It forces your hands to curve. Yeah,
forces your hand to curve. I think we'd have less hand breaks because I think it offers better support for your hands.
Yeah, That's the thing with Trevor. Trevor's his mind is always.
Yeah.
He builds everything.
Yeah.
Builds everything, fixes everything. And that was the biggest thing is he wanted to, because, fighters, we always hurt our hands, we always break our hands. And he was like, man, his mind's always going, how can I create something that's better for your hands that can enhance it. And so his gloves, even the 16 ounces, the X Factor gloves are amazing.
They're the shit.
And the MMA ones, I think eventually, people are just slow. The world is slow like that sometimes. When you tell people, hey, I have this thing that's gonna help, people are kind of like, well, we'll see. But then when someone else adopts it and starts using it, it's like, oh yeah, we got to do that. We got to do that. So I think it'd take a little bit of time, but
I just think for it'd be great for him and it'd be great for the UFC. Just sell
absolutely.
It. Just UFC should just come along and buy it. Buy that design. It's the best
but it has
design.
to make sense.
Yeah, they should give him the right amount of money. He did the work. He made the best glove. It's the best. Anybody that I give it to, like we had one at the old studio.
Yeah.
I go try this shit on, and they put it on. They'd be like, oh fuck, like this is better.
It makes you want to.
It's better.
Makes you want to throw a punch.
Yeah, it's better. It's better support for your hand.
Yeah.
I mean, in his bag gloves and his sparring gloves, the Velcro ones, Justin told me he doesn't even wear hand wraps.
No, Justin. Yeah, they're built to where you don't have to wear hand.
Yeah,
wrap.
I mean that second strap that tightens their shit down, like you really feel like you could just hit things with them on.
Yeah, I still gotta wear hand wraps.
Now, your hand surgery that you had, how long did it take you to recover?
I think the doc said about 4 months. But then after the 4 months, because I wanted to, right away, I wanted to start hitting the bag because I was going to try to push myself and fight at International Fight Weekend. I wanted to headline there. But, the doc was like, yeah, that's kind of close, too close to comfort. Because I would start punching right away and, God forbid you hit someone's skull.
Right.
And I don't want to split that back up and just do, permanent damage.
What did they have to do to your hand?
So I kept feeling pain. I was like, yo, something's wrong with my hand. Because it was like this tendon right here, when you push on this finger, would just kind of give. And I was like, that's not normal, because usually that I pride myself on my grip. When I grab, it's not going anywhere. But this, I'm having an issue. But it wasn't necessarily a lot of pain, when you hit right away. And so I kept saying it. So they made me get an MRI. But I got the MRI like this, so they couldn't really see it. So what happened was I had a cut. I had this tendon right here that folds the finger up and down, split in two this way. So when I have my hand straight, it's hard to see it. But when you go like that, it just opens up. So I had a hole in it in my hand, and
how'd they
I
find
kept
that out?
punching. It was this doctor in California that was his specialty, Dr. Shin, and this is what he does. And he's like, yeah, I've dealt with a few boxers and a few fighters and basketball players to where I know that injury. It's hard to see, but he had a thought of maybe that's what's going on. And then once he went in there, he's like, yep, you got it. I come out of surgery, he's like showing me the pictures that he took on his iPhone. He's like, look at this. I'm like, he's like, yep, just what I thought. And I just had a hole in my hand from that. So he had to go in and stitch it like this together. And so it'd heal like that. So now I have function, with it. So it's still a little bit of scar tissue right there compared to this one.
But it feels 100%?
I don't know if anything's 100%. Once you get cut into, I don't know if that's not the way God made you, or that's not the way that you were born. So I don't know if I would say 100%, but definitely feels good.
Well, that's a very important point about fighters going into fights, is that they're very, very rarely 100%.
Oh yeah.
And athletes, you know, when you step into the octagon, you look 100%. Shit, look at him. He looks amazing. So everybody assumes there's nothing wrong. But, like, how many times have you had a fight where you got some shit wrong?
Now it's if I'm going into a fight and there's nothing wrong, I'm like, oh, did I prepare enough? Did I do enough in this camp? I think almost every fight, something has been really, really wrong to where I could have been like, yeah, I can't fight. And there's evidence. The doctors will say, yeah, I don't recommend you to fight. Something has definitely been wrong. Every fight.
Every fight.
Every fight.
What's the worst thing?
I don't know. You kind of have to pick your poison on that one. Like before Masvidal 2, I didn't throw a punch with my right hand for 3 weeks until
Because of that
fight
injury?
night. Yeah, until fight night. I didn't throw my right hand until, no, not Masvidal, before Colby. Colby 2, I didn't throw a punch for 3 weeks until fight night. Masvidal was I think my leg, my knee, yeah, something happened with my knee. I got kicked in the knee, boom, just went out. So I was for like 2-3 weeks leading up to the fight, I was just like, bro, I don't think I can fight. And for this last one, my hamstring it just popped 3-4 weeks before, and I didn't throw a right kick until fight night for this one. And did it limit my mobility? Maybe, but who cares? The biggest thing for me is I'm grateful that I've made it there. The biggest fight is that weight cut. To make the weight the night before, that's the biggest one.
What do you walk around at?
Now that I'm getting older, I'm starting to get up there. So I'm like maybe like 95.
Oh, that's not
I would
too
say
bad.
in between 95 and 200.
That's not that bad for 170.
Yeah, but I'm walking around at maybe 6-7% body fat.
Yeah.
At my fattest. So I think like my threshold is like 185, 84, 85. That's when I'm like really down with all fats. Then the rest has to be muscle and water. So
Yeah.
that's painful.
George Lockhart was explaining this to me, and he was saying that people with a lot of muscles like yourself, it's actually easier for them to cut weight than skinny people or people that have fat.
Yeah.
Because, like, you don't get a lot of water out of fat. He said you get into water out of the muscle tissue.
Yeah, I've tried that, and I think when I didn't fight actually, the most muscular I was when Tyron Woodley fought Darren Till in Dallas. I weighed in as an alternate for that fight, because in my head I was gonna fight for this title, whether Darren Till made the weight or whether whether Darren Till did make it or Tyron Woodley did make it. I was gonna step in. I was prepared to step in. And that was the most muscular in that camp. I prepared for 2 different styles, 2 different guys, and I was really muscular. And I got 13 off in 2 hours. I think that was the video that Will did. That was out. I did 13 pounds in 2 hours, and
what are you doing to get 13 pounds off in 2 hours?
Just working. Work. I used to run on the treadmills, but clearly that doesn't work anymore. So now I'll do elliptical. And sauna, elliptical and sauna. Those 2 and
Just
a little bit of work.
Back and forth and back and forth, elliptical and
I
sauna.
probably do an hour on the elliptical. And once I get done with that, I've got a pretty good sweat going. And now I can do the sauna and alternate. Do some time in the sauna, come out, go back in, come out. But it's almost like my body knows. It just knows what we're about to go through,
right?
Without me telling it knows, hey, we're gonna cut today, we're gonna do this. So it just naturally starts doing it. And once I'm in that process, it just starts coming off, and it comes off. And it shocks me every time, because now I can pretty much know when to stop.
What does it feel like when you actually hit 170 though?
I've never given birth to a child, but I would say I want to say those are comparable pains, because it's unexplainable, because your body is dying.
Yeah.
It's actually dying, because the organs require fluids and all of that, and you've just taken all of that out. So it's just slowly dying, and you're just there waiting to step on the scale. And people think, oh, you made 170, now you're good. No, it takes some time for you to start to feel good again.
When do you feel good again? Like how many hours?
I want to say like 8 hours after is when I starting to feel like normal again. 8 hours after.
And do you have a protocol that you follow as far as rehydration?
Oh yeah, it's and I've done it every wrong way. So, but for me, the best way is like now, oral hydration. You know, knowing when to put in the sodium, the magnesium, and certain things that, you know, step by step. And that's what, you know, big shout out to Clint and the guys at the PI. You know, they have a whole protocol and a process to getting those fluids back in you, the electrolytes, you know, the carbohydrates and the certain things back in your body that's going to hold that water. And, you know, it's a process. It takes some time. And
you got the rubber suit on too.
Oh yeah. That aids in getting it off. And see, at this moment, they gotta hold you up because your body's just wrecked.
Yeah, I've watched certain people get on the scale, and you see them shuffling to the scale, and you're like, I can't believe this guy has to fight in a day.
For me, by this point, by the time I get here, it's my body it's just on autopilot. It knows what to do. I stand there and it's just, you know, I'm not hungry.
You can see it in your eyes.
Yeah. I'm just like,
your
that's
eyes are
the
kinda
battle.
sunken in.
Yeah, this is the battle right here. And I just went through that. The fight's a bonus.
What do you think about the possibility of eliminating that? Do you think that's ever possible to eliminate weight cutting? Like if they had more weight classes, they had hydration tests like they do in college for wrestling. Do you think that they could do that? Or at least make it more safe?
I mean, everything is relative. Like it's all an individual choice.
But if they invented it now, see, like
you can try, but people are still going to try to beat the system in some way, shape,
but that's
form,
what
or
I'm
fashion.
saying. I'm saying like, imagine if you just weighed in at what you weighed in and you fought like you weigh 195,
that would
you fight
be
195.
That would be great.
It would be the best, right?
Yeah, that would be
and
great.
if someone came along and said, I got an idea. How about you pretend you're 170? And you get down to 170. You almost get on death's door 24 hours before the fight. And then you could rehydrate. You'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Why would I do that? That would weaken me.
Yeah.
That's like saying, why don't you go out and party the night before? But you'll rehydrate.
Yeah.
Don't worry. We'll just drink some tequila. Tequila's clean.
That's the excuse now. There's like, oh, it's plant-based. It's plant-based. It's good.
It's plant-based.
It's plant-based. It comes from a plant, so it's healthy. It's good for you.
Yeah. I just think it's the dumbest thing. I think it makes me angry that we haven't come up with a solution.
I think it's the culture. You know, it was the culture that
for wrestling, it's
to
certainly
get
the
there.
culture.
Yeah. So but yeah, I wouldn't mind. Like, you compete against those guys, and I wrestle with them and I train with them and I'm bigger guys to where it's not that big of a problem. But
do you see how much weight Alex Pereira is cutting before he fights Izzy?
No, how big is he? I know he's big.
He was over 220.
What?
Yeah, over 220 with 9% body fat. I think he weighed 226.
232 a couple weeks ago. 3 weeks ago.
Can he do it?
232. So he's got 3 months to cut 47.
100%. He's going to do it.
Ask you. You're like, yeah, I can do that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a 4-day process.
He's a big fella. He's very big.
Yeah, he's actually, I knew a middleweight that was bigger. You remember Cesar Ferreira?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Cesar was he looked like a Greek god. Yeah, Mutante. Yeah, he's big, looked like a Greek god. He's tall, and he cut a lot of weight. At one point, he got to 170.
Oh, my God, that's right. He did. Jesus Christ, look at the abs on that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Damn.
At one point, he got to 170. I was just like, holy shit, how?
Yeah, it's
But
hard
he
to
does
believe.
it.
Well, he was Vitor's guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy was too big for the weight class. So there's a point of diminishing returns, right? When you cut
100%.
too much weight and then you never really fight at 100% because you're always weakened by the weight cut.
Yeah.
Because I know one championship is they've implemented some sort of hydration strategy that apparently didn't go well during the last weigh-ins. There's a bunch of people that like missed hydration and missed weight. And by the way, shout out to Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson.
I know. I was gonna say that. What a savage.
Still doing it.
What a
Wins
savage.
the world title over at 1. I mean, he's got to be. How old is Mighty Mouse at this point in the game?
36, I think, maybe.
He is one of the greatest of all time. That guy is so fucking talented. So talented. And the way he set that knee up, the way he hits him with the right hand, and there's like a pause, not yet, boom! Yeah. Lands it perfectly.
He's another fighter that intelligently is one of the best.
When he was at the top in the flyweight division in the UFC, you would see guys trying to solve this puzzle of this guy who's here, and then he teleports to here, and then he's kneeing you in the body, and then he's over here, and then he's got your back. Boom! Perfect timing in that. And then walks off. See ya. Look at that. Hits him with the right hand. Bing! I got you. Look how he spins away. Like, I got you. I know that's over. He just knew just by the way it impact is like, there's no way you're getting out of that one.
Look at the size difference, though. Look how big the other guy was.
Oh, he's pretty big. But they're fighting 135 now, because he's never going to fight 125 again, he said. So their flyweight is 135. And their idea is move everybody up 10 pounds, create more weight class opportunities for these people. Look at how he does this. It's just his timing and his awareness. I mean, and this is a guy who's been at the top of the game for a long time now. You go back to that first fight that he beat Cejudo. I mean, come on, man. Look at that. Boom.
Oh.
Perfect. In the air.
Oh,
Mighty Mouse.
He's one of the greatest, even clip to me is that when he did the Ray Borg.
Ray Borg, yeah.
That was such a ninja move.
He catches the armbar in midair. In midair while he's slamming him, catches the armbar. And he said, I practice that all the time. I'm like, can you imagine being his fucking trading partner? You're getting suplexed and armbarred on the way down. Like, fuck.
Could you imagine me doing that?
Oh, my God.
To a
fighter. That was something that DC, here it is. Let's take a look at this. Look, he hooks it as he's going down. I mean, that is incredible. The timing on that is just pristine. He had so many great fights.
The finish was just as good as the celebration.
They don't talk about him. They don't bring him up, man. It's just really weird. Like, the UFC doesn't promote him anymore. Like, now that he's gone and he goes to another organization. But it's still, the fights that he had in the UFC, like, when they show that whole, when they play The Who, they have that music and they have that compilation. How the fuck do you not have Mighty Mouse in that?
Because he's no longer with the company.
What?
I think when he's done from over there, because UFC owns all those intellectual properties. They own all of that. So I think when he's done over there, where he can't give them shine over there anymore,
right?
I think they'll start to bring it out because he's.
Is he not in the Hall of Fame?
Not now.
Not now.
He's fighting for a different organization.
Whatever.
Which is it's in politics, but I think when he's done,
get any of that.
Absolutely.
In my world, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you gotta recognize that.
For sure.
The guy's one of the greatest champions ever. He's one of the best. When he was at the top, man, he was like untouchable. It was wild how you'd watch him move. Yeah. Like, his footwork and his positioning was so good. And he could do everything. He could submit you. He could knock you out. He could tune you up on the feet. He could take you down at will.
The one time I bet against him was when he fought Dotson the first time. I think John Dotson. Because I had known John Dotson from season 14 of The Ultimate Fighter. And John Dotson was like a little ninja.
He's
like
a physical freak.
Ball of energy. Ooh, and he's got power in his hand for a guy that size.
Yeah,
I'm like, hey, this guy could probably touch DJ. And then I just watched DJ do what he did. I was like, yeah, I think.
He was that good. He was that good. And that's also like one of those examples with, there's a few of those examples. We have this real wizard trainer who has the star pupil. And then you get to see like how good that trainer is because there's an athlete that's good enough to represent that guy's understanding of the sport.
Yeah.
And that's like Matt Hume and him. That's that kind of relationship that they've always had.
Oh, yeah. And there are coaches like that. And I think, I mean, you see that with Trevor and how he's able to handle me. And we're 3 different guys, me, Justin, and Rose. I mean, does an amazing job. And I still, to this day, I think Rose is, some of the things that she can do is amazing.
What did you think about that last fight?
I mean, not her best, obviously.
What does she think about that fight? Like, what did she, I mean, she wrote something apologizing about it, but, like, why did she fight like that? Like, what was that?
I don't know. I mean, you never really know. But I think for her now, I think she's in a place where she's made peace with it, to where I'm over it. I'm over it. I don't even want to think about it. I made peace with it. So I don't know what she's thinking as far as her future, whether she wants to fight again or whether she doesn't want to fight again. I would be sad if she doesn't fight again, because.
So she may not fight again, you think?
I don't know. You never know what she's thinking. I mean, she's so talented. I mean, she can do anything. Have you ever watched her play the piano?
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up.
She can do anything. She can play the piano. She can go back to school, and she's smart and she's intelligent. So she can do anything that she wants to do.
She certainly could.
So I don't know. I would be bummed if she doesn't fight again, but
it's got to end sometime, though. I mean, if it ends now, it sucks that it ends on that fight. That's what sucks, because it's not like it ends on the Joanna fight when she KO'd her, or when she KO'd Zhang Weili. To lose on that fight where it was so perplexing, like it didn't make any sense. Like no one was engaging.
Yeah,
it was just weird.
I would love to see her get that one back. But I think they already announced that Carla's fighting.
She's going to fight Zhang Weili.
Which is, I mean, that would be sad to watch. Let's say Zhang Weili goes and takes the title from Carla. Mm-hmm. That would be sad to watch her walk around with the title when, Rose has bested her twice.
The second fight was close.
It was close.
Second fight was a very good fight. The first fight, that head kick was brilliant. God damn, that was beautiful.
You didn't even see it.
Yeah.
Magic. And even what's her name? Even Zhang Weili didn't even. She thought it was going to be an inside kick.
Zhang Weili is no fucking joke. That lady is a monster. When you're watching her knock out Joanna like that with a spinning back fist, I was like, Jesus.
It was tough because I like Joanna too, and
I do too.
And Joanna had her, and that's the thing. This sport changes so fast.
So fast.
We forget that Joanna went on a run when she was just defending. When she had 5 title defenses or something like that, 5 or 6. She was just defending the belt, and she was the boogeyman. Everyone was. And
when she beat Carla,
boom.
When she bloodied up Carla and battered her, Jesus Christ, she was good.
Yeah.
She was so good.
So it was a tough one to watch, but there's you can just see how deep now the women are getting. You have Zhang Weili, you have Joanna, you have Rose, you have Jessica Andrade. Those weight classes getting deeper and deeper, and you have younger girls now that are coming out. Miranda Maverick. You have Macy Barber. You have a couple of these girls that are getting better and better in there.
And some of those fights, like Juliana Pena and Amanda Nunes, it's one of the best title fights I've ever seen in my fucking life. That shit was wild.
Did you see those 2 little girls? They might have been, I think one was 19 and the other one was maybe 20. One was Mexican, one was Brazilian. They were both like Juliana, I think so.
How long ago was this?
It was literally 3 weeks ago. They fought on the card in Vegas. What card was that? It was that wild one, and they had the African kid fight that Nate the Train guy.
Oh,
that wild fight. It was back-to-back fight.
Yes.
It was the 2 girls. Did you see that
That's
scrap?
right. Yes, I did.
Wow.
I watched that on TV. That was a Apex Center fight.
Yeah, Apex Center fight.
Yeah.
And oh man, what fights! But that's what people want.
Yeah,
people want to see the blood. People want to see the back and forth. This guy's hurt, they come back, and that guy's hurt, and they come back. But when you're just dominating, people don't want to watch that. People are like,
They kind of do too. They like all of it. They like a dominant champion who just kills everybody, and then they like back and forth scraps.
Okay, then look at the Israel fight. Why does Israel get flagged?
Because people are dumb. That's why. This is why. If you want to fight Jared Cannonier, you better fight him that way.
Yeah.
Because Jared Cannonier will knock you into the fucking next dimension. Like, that guy is a huge 185 who has ruthless knockout power. He was knocking people out at heavyweight, knocking people out at light heavyweight, and knocking people dead at 185. If you want to fight Jared Cannonier, you got to fight that way. That's my same criticism of people that were saying that Wonder Boy, when Tyron Woodley fought Wonder Boy, that he fought him wrong. Like, no, he's the only guy who fought him right.
Yeah.
You have to fight him that way. You got to make him come to you and then counter him. Like, you cannot be involved in chasing down one of the best counter strikers that's ever competed in the welterweight division. You can't fucking do that. That's a way to lose your title. If you want to fight the right way, you fight the way Tyron did, and he beat him twice.
Yeah, but people don't. People are like, oh no, that because they wanted to see Tyron hurt. Yeah. And him battle back, and then Wonder Boy hurt, and him battle back, and that's just it's crazy. It's people. I feel like people are trying to still keep it a blood sport. They want to keep it that way.
It's just the casuals, man. It's the people that don't understand the actual events that are taking place. When Izzy's setting Jared up and he's moving and outpointing him and striking him. Look, if Jared wanted to get wild and crazy, Izzy probably would have knocked him out. But Jared fought the way he should have fought, and Izzy fought the way he should have fought, and the better man won. Yeah. And that's what prize fighting is all about. That's what it's about.
Absolutely.
If you want to, like, ruin your brain for a bunch of people that don't give a fuck about you when you lose, good luck. Go try that. It's a dumb way to live your life. It's a dumb way to live your life. You're supposed to fight the correct way. And sometimes it's exciting, like the Paulo Costa fight. That shit's exciting. The first Robert Whittaker fight. That shit's exciting.
Yeah.
But this is the same problem that Anderson Silva had when Anderson was in his prime. Is that, like, some guys would fight him in a very cautious way, and people would say, well, he should have pushed the action. No, that's not what you do.
Yeah.
You don't open yourself up just because the other guy's not doing anything, or turn into a brawl because people are booing. That's dumb.
Trevor touches on that, and Trevor, he said that to me between the first time I fought Masvidal, right after the fight, because I remember I was just so mad at myself because I felt that I could have done better. I dominated the whole fight. But I was just like, no, that guy wasn't as good as I made it out to be in my head. No way. I want to fight him again. And Trevor, and I was upset with myself backstage. And Trevor was just like, bro, you're the fucking champion. You have to be the smart one here, because it took a lot of work for you to get here to the title. And it takes a lot of work to be able to defend this title. You have to be the smarter guy. And I heard every word that he said. But the dark Kermit, the gangster in me was like, fuck that.
Dark Kermit.
The gangster in me was like, no, I got to go again. I need to do what I did that second fight to Masvidal. I got to do that. That's what I want. That's what the people want. That's what has to happen. And I think this is partially why the first Covington fight was the most satisfying one to me. And it's weird because I like both guys. I do like Covington and I do like Masvidal, to where I'm almost.
People would be surprised you say you like Covington after all those.
I mean, as a person, I never hung out with him as a person, so I wouldn't know how he is as a person. I know I've heard rumors, but because how he is, his energy is with other people might not be how his energy is towards my energy. Mm-hmm. So until I experience that, it's hard for me to speak on it. But as a athlete, as a competitor, and what he brings to the table, like I'm almost kind of like low-key a fan, not really, but I admire what they're able to do. For you to talk that much shit and get your face broken too, and still talk more shit after, like that takes a different person.
Well, it's brilliant marketing for him.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And you know the whole story. He created that kind of character when the UFC was pushing him out.
Yeah,
they were saying you're boring, you got to get out of here, and he was like, well, how about I try this?
Yeah, and nothing changed with his fighting style. He was always that dominant.
Yeah,
he was always doing that to guys, and it's just now he's got that stick behind him, and it works. So more power to him.
Greetings, nerds and virgins. you gotta fucking admire it. It's funny, man. I've hung out with him in real life at
Really?
the Comedy Store. Yeah, he came to the Comedy Store one night.
I hear he's a super nice guy.
Super nice guy.
Yeah.
Polite, real friendly to people.
Yeah.
He's just not that guy at all. But it's like, he's like, look, I had to do what I had to do. And he was explaining it. And he's like, they were going to cut me. They told me they were going to cut me. And he's like, I didn't know what to do. It's like, I'm just going to start talking crazy shit.
Yeah.
And that's what he did.
For me though, the difference is I mean, he's a single guy. I don't know if he has kids or not, but I do. And like for me to have to, my daughter now, she watches everything. She asks questions. Like for me to have to explain that to her.
Right, that is not how daddy really is. It's an act.
Yeah, I don't think I don't want to do that.
Well, it's not your personality anyway. It's like you don't, and also you don't have to. Like you don't have to. You dominated him despite that. It's like, you know, there's people that they come up with a shtick, and you see like shticks are valuable. I mean, look, Sugar Sean O'Malley is a wild guy to watch fight.
I like
He's
him,
very talented.
Yeah.
But part of why O'Malley's so popular is he's smart about his marketing. He talks a lot of crazy shit. He's got crazy colored hair. He's got all these tattoos. He smokes a lot of weed, plays video games all the time, puts it all out online, puts all this content online. So there's way more eyeballs on any of his fights than they would be with, you know, like a regular guy.
Yeah, no, I like him too, and that's the one thing that I noticed is he was very keen to that early in his career, to where he is able to do that.
Because there's some killers out there that don't get their shine, like Rachmanov. Shavkat Rachmanov, that guy's a fucking killer, and nobody's talking about him. You know, but then you've got certain people in that weight class like Hamzat, who talks crazy shit. I kill them all. I kill everybody. And like everybody wants to pay attention to him. Not bad, right?
Yeah, everyone. I mean, there's another tough. What's his name? Sean Brady. Another tough
Sean
kid.
Brady's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, tough kid in the division.
He's an excellent grappler.
You know, there's a lot of good guys. Jeff Neal.
Oh yeah, Jeff Neal's back.
Jeff Neal's back.
That was big, man. Knocking out Vicente Luque. That was big.
That was big.
That's big.
That was hard to watch too.
Ooh,
you know,
you're a training partner with Vicente.
I love both guys. You know, I've actually trained with both guys, but Vicente I trained with for a long time. Vicente is like a brother to me too. And it's watching that was just that one was really tough.
It was bittersweet, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's also, for me, it's nice to see Jeff Neal back in form. Because I was, Jeff Neal, like when he knocked out Mike Perry, I was like, that guy is the dark horse of the division. Like, he is so technical and so clean, and the way he lands his strikes is so efficient, and like, he's someone to watch. And then he had a rough time of it for a while, like where it didn't really, and he had some personal issues, and it just seemed like he kind of lost his focus, but now it looks like it's 100% back.
Yeah, and he's calling, who was he called someone out earlier. Was it Covington or was it Burns or someone? He called someone out.
I don't know who it was.
And I was like, yeah, that's not a bad fight.
So is it Gilbert is scheduled to fight someone, right?
He? I don't think so.
Why did I hear?
I know they were. Him and Masvidal was going back and forth. They
That's
wanted
right.
that fight, and
That
I think it's
isn't-
a great fight.
I think that's a great fight.
Yeah, I don't know if that's for sure because I'm hearing now like all this week they were saying, oh, Masvidal is pushing to fight Leon Edwards for the title. I'm like, that doesn't really make sense. But
if I was Leon, I'd be like, where have you been? You punched me in the face 4 or 5 years ago. I haven't heard shit from you.
That's what it was. It's him and DC got into it. They were going back and forth because I think DC. I think he called for the Masvidal fight and saying, "Oh, I think they asked Leon, would you fight Masvidal?" And Leon's like, "I mean, yeah, if the opportunity's there, but you know, I've been wanting to fight this guy for 3 years, and he just ignored me and said that I was a nobody. But now out of the woodwork, he wants to fight me." And then I think DC had commented and said, "If I was Leon, I would just completely ignore this guy because that's what he did to you. He ignored you when he could have fought you. You guys were both in a certain situation where you could fight each other." But now that, you know, you are the champion, he wants another crack at the belt. So of course he wants to fight you now. And so I think that's what Masvidal and his camp got upset with, and they started going at DC. And DC did the most savage shit, I think, to do. And he posted a picture of his titles stacked up. I remember saying, I was just like, well, the argument's over. You can't really say shit to that. I mean, I think he had, like 7 world titles just all stacked up on the table. And he posted a picture of it. I was like, yeah, I mean, you can't argue back with that. And he's got his Hall of Fame jacket. You can't argue with
those
that.
guys that are so close.
Yeah.
They're so close. And Masvidal's one of those guys that's so close.
Masvidal.
So close.
Covington.
Yep. So close.
Wonder Boy.
So close. Yep. Perfect examples. There it is.
Oh, shit, that's just savage.
Those are the old school belts, too. Do you like the old ones or the new ones?
New ones.
Do you have an old one, too?
No.
You got it when it was the
I
new?
was the first one to get the new
Oh,
one.
really?
Yeah. The first welterweight. I think Henry Cejudo was the first guy to get it. And I think I fought after Henry Cejudo.
I look at the old one now, and it looks kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
I used to think the new one, like, what is this?
Yeah,
like, people
that's
don't like
exactly how I
change.
felt.
Like, what is this new thing?
Exactly how I
But
felt.
now I look at the new one, I'm like, that's a better looking belt.
Oh yeah, 100%. And just the different elements that are in the belt, the
I bet you
different
get a
things
jewel
that are in there. Yeah.
For each time you defend your title.
I'm wondering what are they gonna do when I get the belt back? Do they give me a new belt?
Maybe you get
Or-
one different kind of jewel that's in there. Like you get one gray jewel.
'Cause
Like
right
it's not so good.
Now they're all red. They're all the rubies.
Right.
But like, do I?
You get an opal.
Yeah.
All
something.
rubies and something. Well, this one's kind of fucked up, but
Yeah.
but because of it, I got better. You know, it's hard for me because I like a lot of guys.
Yeah.
And sometimes 2 guys I like Leon a lot. He's
Yeah.
great. He's
I
a
like Leon, too.
fantastic guy.
Yeah.
So it's hard when you watch a guy you like beat another guy you like. It puts you in that weird place.
Yeah.
You know?
Khabib and Michael Johnson one, that was a tough one. Because Mike was my guy, was Mike's training partner, but I liked Khabib too. And I like being around him and how he stands, because he thinks, like he's on the same experience, like mental, how he thinks and how he approaches the fights. And I'm just like, oh yeah, this guy's, it's going to be hard to deal with. And then watching him fight Michael Johnson, it's just like, oh man, that was a tough one to watch.
Habib said he wouldn't even come back for a grappling match. Did you see that? They offered him money to grapple. And he's like, nope.
Why?
He's done.
And I think the fact that we're continuing, if he's anything like me, the fact that people are continuing to ask him makes it easier for him not to come back.
What if, let's go to the what if bucket.
Okay.
What if Charles Oliveira beats Islam Makhachev?
Yeah.
What happens then?
Then he fights the
What if
winner,
he
Justin
submits
and
him
someone.
and he calls out Khabib?
He calls him out.
Is-
Khabib's just gonna.
is there
He
a-
makes it easy. It makes it easier for Khabib to say no. First of all, I don't think he gets down to 155 ever again.
Really?
No
He's
way
so
in
big
hell.
right now.
He's big. He's a light heavyweight. No way in hell he gets down to, and he's a solid light heavyweight. Like he's holding down light heavyweights and submitting them.
Really?
He's a bear. He's like a short, stocky bear right now. Yeah, there's no way he gets back down to 155.
How
No
did he
way.
gain so much weight?
I think he just let his body grow into it. You hold it down for so long, and
Right.
then when you let go, it just grows. Like, look at Anthony Johnson. He was making 170.
And then he went up to heavyweight.
Yeah.
And he's knocking people dead.
Yeah, he just let it.
Yeah.
And he was solid there, too. So, I think it's just you once you let your body go there,
How
it
is
just grows.
how
into
is
that.
Rumble doing? Because I'd heard he had a health scare, like
Yeah,
something.
he had a health scare, and it's he has good days and bad days.
What is
but
it?
he's still there. We don't know. Maybe they're saying maybe from the years of maybe weight cuts and maybe other
kidney
different things, and I don't want to speculate on it because I don't know the whole file of everything, but
right.
I know he has good days, and then some days he has some bad weeks.
That motherfucker hit so hard.
Anthony Johnson was one of the purest athletes I've ever seen because he had the feet of a lightweight and the power of a heavyweight, and he carried it all the way through. So it's I'm praying for him, and I hope he gets better.
How long has
but
he been
it's-
dealing with this?
Over a year.
Because I know he fought in Bellator, won in Bellator, had that great
Yeah.
come from behind
Then it's-
victory,
Yeah, and then it just
and then
happened.
when he knocked out Glover Teixeira with one punch, I was like, God damn.
Did you see the tooth fly?
Yes.
that, I mean, that's a scary power. And I had to spar him. I sparred him a few times. I have video of me sparring Anthony a few times, and Anthony is one of those guys that doesn't go soft.
Oh,
he doesn't know how to go soft.
Lots of
and
fun.
his big ass would wear 14-ounce gloves too at sparring, and it was like, and I remember we'd complain, we'd tell Henry like, why is he wearing 14-ounce gloves? He should be wearing 20s. Like, there's no way he should be wearing 14s. But he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna touch with you.
Get the fuck out of here.
No, he doesn't touch.
He's touching you with canned hams.
Yeah.
He's got these fucking giant hammers for fists.
Yeah.
He hit so hard, man. He was just such a dangerous guy. Because at any mistake you make, it just takes one from him.
Yeah. I mean, he knocked out everyone he was knocking out. He knocked out Gustafsson.
Yep. Oh, my God. Yeah, in Sweden.
In Sweden, which, you know, we love to do that. We love to go into someone's country and
like England.
in silence. Yeah, like England.
Is that what you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I'm looking forward. It's almost like it's a new challenge. It's almost like a new thing now for me to get excited about. Before it was you got to make up things. Oh, you fight in Salt Lake City against Leon Edwards. You've already fought and you beat. Okay. How to get excited for it. Now this one's exciting. There's a lot at stake now. Now you're fighting for the belt. Now you're in their country, which honestly, I think I'm gonna have more fans in this country than he will. I mean, and that's no knock. That's no knock on Leon. You know, I like Leon. I really do. It's half of England is Africa. You know, and there's a lot of Nigerians in England, a lot of Nigerians, and he knows that. A lot of Nigerians, a lot of Jamaicans, but I think I will be well represented in England.
Do you think there's more Nigerians than there are Jamaicans?
I don't know, but I would think so. I would think there's more West Africans than there are, which Jamaicans are West Africans.
Yeah.
You know, I would
But
think.
also he lives there.
Yeah.
And he's the first champion that really trained his entire career there.
True, but I don't think he's been getting the love that he should have been getting.
Well,
yeah,
you know, there was that problem with the 2 years where, you know, during the pandemic and
even now after winning
fights
the title,
canceled. You don't think he's getting the love now?
He won the title and got to the airport. I think there's maybe, I was told maybe 20 people there.
Really?
He should have had a parade.
I would have thought there would have been a bigger reception.
Exactly.
Especially the way he won.
Exactly. I would have thought that too. But it was like 20 people there, his family.
Really?
Yeah, I would have thought he had a parade. Like, you have a parade. They have to shut down the airport. It should be Leon Edwards Day.
It should be.
You just got the title from Kamaru Usman. It should be Leon Edwards Day.
Yeah.
You know, so, more, I mean, I hope he does get it, but, to do something to do what he's done, what he just did, to come from where he's come from and stay in England and
yeah.
And I don't care how he did it. He did it.
Yeah.
I would, that's kudos to him and what he stands for, that victory, because he's intertwined with the inner city and helping kids and, stay out of the gang life and things of that nature. So it's commendable. And I'm glad for him for what that, being able to achieve that. But in my head, it's not like I feel like I'm a loser. No, I know I'm the best in the world. And when given that opportunity again, I will prove that. But I'm glad he's, getting the things and doing what he's doing right now.
That's a great attitude.
Yeah,
that's a great attitude. As long as you get that second shot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no logical fight. What, am I going to beat up Covington again?
Right.
Masvidal again?
There's no logical other fight for you.
No.
For him, the only fight that would make any sense marketing-wise, I could see, you could say the Masvidal fight.
Yeah.
If you couldn't fight in time and they offered him a headliner fight and Masvidal took it, I kind of could see where that would maybe. But I don't think they would risk the rematch.
Even with that, I would give it to Covington first. If we're going to be logical about the order of things.
Right.
I would give it to, but if we just don't give a shit, we don't care, then that makes sense.
I don't think they give a shit. I think they're just trying to make the most amount of money.
I think so too.
What can you sell the most? For sure, you and him are the biggest fight.
Absolutely.
For
In
sure,
England?
that in England,
Absolutely.
I
For
mean,
the title or legit, because that makes sense legitimately
Yes.
for the title.
yes,
So, yeah, absolutely.
that's the legitimate fight.
Yeah.
Especially because you're one of the most dominant champions ever. And so for you to lose that way and then to rematch for the title in England, that shit is going to be bonkers. I'm going over there, bitches.
You heard
I'm
him,
flying
Jamie.
to England.
You heard him.
I told John Anik I would right after the fight. I'm
Yeah.
fucking going. I'm fucking going.
We got to go. We have to go to England.
Let's go.
Let's go to England.
Yeah, it's
Let's
gonna
do
be
it back.
Wembley Stadium. That is gonna be wild. God.
If not Wembley,
Damn.
some other stadium. They got to
Something
find.
crazy.
And I know Dana said we're looking at all options here.
Because people are gonna come from
Oh,
all
yeah.
over the world.
I think
for
that
fight.
that might sell out in 15 minutes.
Yeah, that might sell out quick, and then they'll probably have some big fights on the undercard too, because that's gonna be a big one. That's a big coming out party for the UK.
Yeah.
Big UFC UK fight.
Even when Bisping was champion, did he? No, he lost it on the first defense, wasn't it?
Didn't he
was
fight
it?
Dan Henderson over there? I think he
Yeah, he fought
defended
Dan, but I
against
don't
Henderson.
think he, did it. No, I
Yeah.
don't think that was for a title because I don't think Dan
Deuce-
Henderson's ever fought for a title.
I think he did.
Did he?
Yeah, I think he beat Henderson for the title. I think that was the rematch, right? Is that true? Manchester, England. Yeah. Bisping versus Henderson 2 was for October 8th, 2016, Manchester Arena. But was that
Wait, I don't
after he
think that
won
was
the
for the
title?
title. No, I think this was
it was
after.
because I
Was
think
this
he
after?
lost the. I think he won the title in 2015, if I remember correctly.
World.
Yep.
Walter. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was. World
so
middleweight championship.
World middleweight championship. Yeah. So that was for the title. Because
Okay.
Henderson fought for the title twice because he fought Anderson too. Remember, Anderson lit him up like a Christmas tree.
Anderson. Really?
Bro, that was prime time.
No,
Super
where? In the
Ninja
UFC?
Anderson. Yes. Yeah, pull up Anderson versus Dan Henderson. Bro.
Where was I for that?
Bro. Anderson was
Oh, shit.
on
Wait, how did I miss this?
fire. This was when Anderson was in his fucking full prime.
Oh yeah, you could tell. You
He
could tell.
was
Oh,
so good.
That's the thing with Anderson when he starts doing this bop
That
and this
shuffle,
hop
the shuffle and
Yeah.
moving back and forth.
Yeah.
He was so good.
and reckless too.
Oh my God, he had
Reckless.
full
Yeah.
regard for his chin,
Yeah.
full confidence in his chin. He actually wound up strangling Henderson. He beat his ass, and then when he got him on the ground, he took his back and strangled him.
Yeah,
But it's because he hurt him on the
care.
feet.
Look, he did.
Well, he stood right in front of you and let you swing punches at him because he had so much confidence in his ability to take a shot too.
Bro,
and-
that was Dan Henderson's
yeah.
shot to you.
I know. Dan Henderson was scary.
Yeah.
He was another guy. I mean, he knocked out Fedor. Dan Henderson knocked out
Fedor.
Who was a fucking heavyweight.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy. So he gets his back, and then he went like bone of the forearm across the trachea. So he went like Gable grip behind the back. See, like there. That's how he gets
That
him.
hurts, yeah.
Right there. So he wound up finishing it palm to palm like that. Right there.
Yeah.
Bam. He got him. That was prime Anderson. People forget. People who are fans who didn't become a fan until recently, go back and watch the Anderson Silva era.
Oh yeah,
Because when he
Scary.
knocked out Vitor with that front kick to the face, nobody was front kicking people in the face before that.
No.
And then it became a thing.
Yeah,
Like he changed MMA.
that and then Machida did it.
Yep. Machida did it with Randy Couture,
Yeah.
and then quite a few people have done it since then. Marlon Vera did it with Frankie Edgar.
Yeah.
Marlon, that was
Michael
nasty.
Chandler did it to Ferguson.
Oh, that one was crazy. That one was crazy.
See the close up of Ferguson's face. Wow.
Oh, those close-ups of him and Frankie while the foot is on the face, those are terrible. Don't show those. those are mean. Nobody should see those fucking pictures, man. Imagine your kids have to see you looking
That's
like
the
some
world. That's
elf.
the world we live in now. You know,
Yes.
fucking miserable people are gonna they close up that picture and then save it as their avatar.
Oh, they do. And then they text you all day.
Oh, yeah.
They send you DMs all day with your
Oh, yeah.
face all fucked up.
Yeah.
These motherfuckers.
Yeah, I've gotten a few of those. The funniest meme that I've seen was the Rick James, and remember the Dave Chappelle show?
Yeah.
When Charlie Murphy story when
Yeah.
he's talking about how he kicked Rick James
Yes.
in the chest. I saw that and they said this was what Leon said to Usman. And I died. I died laughing. It was hilarious.
There's some funny people out there, man. Funny haters.
They're quick. They're quick. They're so quick.
The night of fights, like that night, the memes are out of control.
They're on the computer. They're waiting. They're waiting. Oh, it's happening.
Here we go.
There we go.
Yeah, it's just that kind of energy. But you feel like, I almost feel like I get the fact that you're getting a lot of laughs, but you don't know how talented you are. Like, if you can come up with something like this, you should be like a professional. Like, this should be what you do for a living. Like, you're really funny.
They're good with it. They're really good with it. Really good. Scary good.
Well, I think with MMAs, the highs are so high and the lows are so low, and they know the lows are so low, so they go after you when you're down.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, he used to be shredded on top of the cage, flexing, and now he's out cold. Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Let me brush off my meme fingers.
And some fat guys in front of his cat, like
knocking the Cheeto dust off.
But that's the thing is, I would say the biggest thing that I've learned, where I've grown the most, is not being affected by that.
That's good.
As much.
Yeah.
You know, not it's almost impossible to say I'm not going to be affected at all.
Yeah.
But with that,
the thing is to just avoid it. This is the advice I give to fighters, but it's also the advice I give to comedians too.
Yeah.
You don't want to be reading mean shit.
Yeah.
Because you can't even respond to it.
Yeah.
So like, you want to
You
respond.
can't respond.
You're like, hey, fuck you too. You want to, but you can't. So what are you going to do? You're going to read something that you can't respond to? For what? What information are you getting out of that?
Nothing.
Don't you know human nature?
Yeah.
You know, by the time you reach 30 years old, don't you fucking understand people? Kinda?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, no, that there's going to be people out there that just like, they're anonymous and they just want to hate on you. Don't take that in.
No, that's the biggest thing. It's like, you gotta that's their job.
Yeah.
That's their
job is to fuck with you.
Yeah. That is their job.
Your job is to be great.
And yes,
their job is to fuck
if
with
you're
you.
Doing your job,
they don't have shit.
They're like, fuck.
They don't have shit.
What do I do? I'm waiting for my moment. I'm waiting for my moment. You know, and
if
that's
you're
all
doing
they
their
do.
job, then they go after Masvidal.
Yeah.
Like when you knocked out Masvidal, then they poke fun at him.
Oh man, they said some, and I didn't even, same thing. I didn't really even read the one meme that well, it wasn't really a meme. It was it was a meme. It was the one that I saw and I actually liked is Masvidal did this interview where he was saying something to me. He was saying like, oh, Usman just doesn't possess. God didn't bless him with the macho-ness to be able to put someone to sleep. And he said that. And why he was saying that, and they had like the split screen, they had the video of me just sleeping him. And that one I was like,
That was such a clean punch,
that
too.
was a good
and
one.
to land it on a guy like Masvidal, who's such a crafty striker. He's so skillful.
We set
Very
him up.
slick.
And that was the thing with Trevor, is such a mastermind, is how we set him up and just delivered. And when I did the same thing in the first round that I did in the second, the same setup and how I got him there. But it was just, he was expecting something different in the second. And he just didn't. It was just, I just sent the missile to his head and he didn't even see it. Based on how I set him up.
Such a perfect punch.
You know, and I wanted to do that again.
Look at that.
But Leon Edwards said, nope.
So somewhere around February, you think?
February, March, anyway, I don't care. I'll be ready. I was bored last week. I was so bored. I wanted to train. I wanted to do something.
Maybe you could use this as a time to go get them knees shot up with stem cells somewhere.
I'm doing it all. I'm going to get it shot up. When we leave here, I'm going
go to
Paris.
Colombia. Go to like BioAccelerator, or go to one of those places where they could do illegal shit.
Yeah, well, I don't want illegal shit.
It's not,
USADA? You heard him. I didn't say it.
I don't mean illegal in terms of cheating. I mean the amount of stem cells they can pump into you for healing.
That's one. I have gone to Colombia.
Have you?
That was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I went to Colombia.
Maybe now. And, maybe get back there.
No, for sure. Stem cells, for sure. I'm gonna do stem cells again. Definitely, just try to prolong this as much as possible. And I'm doing everything I can. I'm trying to spend the time and money on my recovery. Making sure that I'm healthy. I'm warmed up before and stretching after and getting some physical therapy, some body work done. So I'm doing it all. And of course, supplements, as far as the turmeric and the ginger and the different things that the natural herbs that you can put in your body to help reduce those inflammations. I'm doing, and I used to say, oh man, maybe a couple more fights and I'm done, but with the newfound hunger that Leon has sparked, it's like, we'll do this you do this a little bit more.
How long do you think? How long do you think, if you had to guess?
I would say, I don't know. This was my roadmap.
What was the roadmap?
My roadmap was beat Leon in the way that I wanted to, and go to 205, beat Prohaska, defend with Jan, come back down, defend with Hamza.
Jesus.
And then if Conor wanted to, or if Canelo at that point wanted to, then do one and just sell off and just say, you know what?
Why did you want to go all the way to light heavyweight? Just because Israel's at 85?
Yeah, Israel's at 85. I don't want to, that I don't take any pleasure in fighting Israel.
Of course, but no one else at 85? Like if Israel retired? Or
yeah, if Israel retired, 100%.
Because 205 is a big jump.
It's a big jump, but I think I have the style and I have the mental ability to be able to handle those guys. Well, not those guys. I don't want to say those guys. Not everybody there. A couple of those guys. A couple of those guys, and they happen to be the guys that are at the top. So I think, I think I could deal with Yuri and I could deal with Jan. Not saying they're not great. They're scary. They're fucking big, scary guys, which is kind of what makes it also tempting for me, because they are scary. It's like you get to a certain point where you're looking for new scary things to do to kind of, keep you alive, motivated. Keep you motivated. And
now you have a new roadmap, though.
Yeah, I have a new roadmap. But
now the roadmap. Similar. Now, so let's imagine
just a
you
pit
go
stop.
back.
Now I got to run Leon back. I got to run that one back.
Let's imagine that fight takes place.
Yeah.
You win the world title back.
Yeah.
What do you think happens after that? Well, we have to see what happens with
Hamzat
and Nate Diaz.
I think Hamzat and Nate Diaz, I don't know.
You can't sleep on Nate Diaz.
No, absolutely not. You can't. But it's kind of like it's a bizarre fight.
It's a bizarre fight.
It's a bizarre fight that doesn't really make sense.
Well, Nate asked for Francis Ngannou.
I know.
That's more bizarre.
That's more bizarre. What if I was Dane, I was okay, you want that? Fine. Francis, you want it? All right, let's do it.
Nate, what do you weigh? He weighs 180.
He's like 180.
Well, he's only giving up 80 pounds. What's the big deal?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. It's bizarre, but
that's Nate.
Hey, we'll see. He's
Nate. A wild fella.
And you can't count him out. But I mean, even after that, I still think it's hard to just say, Hamza, you got to jump Gilbert Burns.
Right.
You jump Masvidal.
He beat Gilbert. But seeing him versus Masvidal. Now that fight
Kobe,
I could get behind more than maybe even the Nate fight. Masvidal 100%. Versus Hamza. Ooh, I like that fight a lot. That's interesting.
I think what's more interesting is him versus Covington.
Hamza versus Covington. Think very interesting.
That's the ultimate test.
Yeah.
Because
that's your gatekeeper.
Covington does everything.
Yeah.
I'm for lack of a better word, and by no disrespect, with all due respect, I mean no disrespect, Covington.
You can say no disrespect because you beat him twice.
With respect, I think, it's Covington. You got to get past Covington.
Most people have said before the Leon fight that if it wasn't for you, he would be the champion of the world.
I agree.
He's that good.
Yeah, I think so. I agree.
He's got so much endurance, man. It's wild.
And he weaponizes it.
Yeah, he pushes a fucking crazy pace, and you saw it in the Woodley fight was one of the best examples.
Yeah,
like he just
But even that fight, he didn't really push the pace. He didn't push
because he could do it more.
With Woodley. Think about Woodley and Robbie Lawler, which I love Robbie too. But look at the pace that he put on.
Yeah,
my God. He threw over. I think he set the record for most punches thrown in that fight. Like, just kept throwing punches, kept taking them down, just kept doing it.
DC says he's always been like that. He says he's always had this crazy gas tank. It's like a genetic thing.
Yeah, I've heard. And
discipline.
I think genetic, but I think a lot of it goes to the discipline.
Yes.
You know, because a lot of people now that get gassed, they don't necessarily know they can deal with it.
Yeah.
In their mind, they feel like they can't, and they get tired, you know, because they don't push themselves in a certain way. But I do think it's mental, how he's mentally embraced it and pushed and pushed and pushed himself. Because for me, that's what it is. I don't run, you know. I do all the different things. I roll and I bike and I do what I can to try to get that same thing. But it's not the same as running, you know. But
think running is the ultimate cardio?
For me, I love running. It's to where running is so good to where there's even a thing called runner's high.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I've felt that a few times because I ran cross country when I was in middle school, and that's why I really developed a passion for running. You know, running, nothing, when you running and you just get in that zone and you're just going,
maybe when you're done fighting,
feeling.
they'll give you some new knees.
Yeah,
Screw
definitely.
in some of them new jammies.
Oh, I'm definitely getting new ones. If they don't weigh me down, for sure, I'm definitely getting new ones.
Oh, they're going to have new ones by the time you're done that are probably way better than the ones they even have now. You know, like I told you, Matt Serra just got his knees done, and you said your mom did, and my mom did. She got her knees done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild now. You're seeing people walk around with fake knees, and they have no pain. Bisping's got both of his knees done.
Really?
Yeah, Bisping has 2 fake knees.
I did not know that.
Yeah. He knocks on them like tap, tap, tap. They sound weird.
Wow.
But yeah, he runs now. Bisping runs. He kicks the bag, everything. Oof. These new knees are wild. Like,
it just gives me
I know.
cringe just thinking about that.
Well, they say they're going to have to replace him in 20 years. But, I mean, they were going to have to do something new in 20 years anyway if you're going to work out. Like,
with the evolution of man, just the way that we're changing things and growing things. And, yeah, of course.
I think also biologics are going to advance to a point where they're going to be able to regenerate tissue in a way that they're not going to have to replace your knee. They're just going to be able to regenerate all that cartilage tissue and meniscus.
Have you seen that printer that can print, that is printing anything?
Yes. That's wild. Yeah.
That's scary.
It's crazy.
That's super scary.
They're going to be able to replace your arm one day. Like you lose an arm in a car accident, they'll just replace your arm. That was like in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's coming.
Yeah. Hurry up now.
Well, listen, Kamaru, you are a fantastic representative of everything that's excellent about mixed martial arts. You really are. Your character, the way you win, the way you lose, the way you discipline yourself, the way you're just always on top of everything, man. And I love the way you've handled this, the loss. And, you know, it's like you're a champion in victory just like you're a champion in defeat. You really are. You handled it great.
Thank you, Joe.
And I can't wait to see that rematch.
I can't wait either.
It's going to be amazing.
You know, Leon, I'll see you soon, boy.
All right. Thank you, brother. Thanks for being here. Bye, everybody.